Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles. Chapter 849. Back then when the Dongxing Heaven Emperor went to a particle world to recruit disciples, the scarce moon Immortal King and myriad incarnations Immortal King had already arrived. The scarce moon Immortal King brought his descendant Ke Tianyi over. Ke Tianyi's performance was extremely outstanding, and after Qin Wentian failed to acknowledge him as a master, the Dongxing Heaven Emperor officially accepted him as his personal disciple. This beautiful myriad incarnations Immortal King, Qin Wentian, was naturally very familiar with her. One of the tests was none other than the myriad incarnations Immortal King. After that, she accepted Hua Taishu as her disciple. Ke Tianyi seems to be very free. Only a few years have passed and he appeared here together with the scarce moon Immortal King. There's basically no one who interfered with him. Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at the four in the air. His gaze paused on Ke Tianyi for a moment. Back then when he took on the Dongxing Heaven Emperor as his master, the Dongxing Heaven Emperor once said that he would be able to gain freedom once every 1,000 years. He was unable to accept it and hence rejected it, causing him to be questioned and criticized by all sorts of immortal kings. At that time, he felt as though he had fallen from the peak and entered a bottomless abyss. He was labeled as someone with a bad character, and the Dongxing Heaven Emperor retracted his order and rejected him as his disciple. Now, from the looks of it, everything seemed like a joke. Did the Dongxing Heaven Emperor really have to restrict his freedom for 1,000 years just to accept a disciple? In that case, why would Ke Tianyi appear here? Right now, Qin Wentian was even more certain that back then when the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor accepted him as a disciple, it was all because of Qin. Dongxing Heaven Emperor made a promise to Qin, yet he didn't fulfill his promise. Instead, he used such a method to deal with him. That lofty Immortal Emperor played him, an ant-like character in the eyes of Dongxing Heaven Emperor, like a toy in the palm of his hands. At that time, everyone looked at Qin Wentian with disdain, but who would dare to say anything about Dongxing Heaven Emperor? No matter what Dongxing Heaven Emperor did, he would definitely be in the right. And as for him, a mere celestial phenomenon ascendant, what qualifications did he have to reject Dongxing Heaven Emperor? Although Qin Wentian sighed in his heart, his countenance was as calm as ever. After that, he turned his gaze onto Hua Taishu. Hua Taishu was even more outstanding now. After he took on the myriad incarnations Immortal King as his master, Hua Taishu's aura was even more extraordinary than before. "You're all early." A voice drifted over from the air as a few silhouettes walked over. One of them had a terrifying gaze, exuding a sense of extreme sharpness. Although he didn't exude any aura, he gave off a sense of extreme danger. This man was none other than the Deep Flame Immortal King. Beside and behind the Deep Flame Immortal King, there were many others. These experts all exuded terrifying auras, as though they were immortal kings with authority over life and death. All of them exuded an imposing aura and were the same as the Deep Flame Immortal King. They were war generals under Dongxing Heaven Emperor. This was a grand occasion of the Dongxing Gate once every 100 years, and they came here to show their support. Those immortal kings who stood up didn't sit back down. They clasped their hands to the Deep Flame Immortal King and the others to show their respect. It was clear with a single glance that among immortal kings, there were also those who were strong and those who were weak. Sometimes, the disparity between the strong and the weak could be exceedingly great. For immortal kings, the slightest disparity might require tens of millions of years of bitter cultivation. If you couldn't advance any further, you might never be able to catch up. The disparity between immortal kings was simply too great compared to celestial phenomenon ascendants. The greater the disparity in strength, the greater the disparity in status. The experts who arrived grew stronger and stronger. The hearts of those 160 participants were all filled with shock. This immortal banquet was simply too terrifying, as expected of the grand occasion of the Dongxing Gate. Experts from all over the 13 prefectures came to attend, and only those who were at the peak had the qualifications to sit here. The sect leaders of the 13 prefectures could only sit below. Ha ha ha, how lively. A carefree voice drifted over from afar. The crowd turned their gazes over, and those immortal kings who were seated on the platforms couldn't help but to twitch their mouths when they saw the smiling old man. The undying immortal king was here again. They already knew that he would definitely come for the grand occasion of the Dongshengshan Gate. Another familiar face. Qin Wentian silently mused when he saw the undying immortal king. Back then, many of the immortal kings he met were also here. But naturally, they only occupied a small portion of the total. Today, the majority of the people here were all unfamiliar faces. Amidst the flashes of light, a white-robed figure appeared, causing the gazes of many to converge on him. This person exuded an extraordinary aura. He looked extremely young and was clad in white, exuding a transcendent aura. The white-robed immortal king, by Wuya, he actually came as well. He once killed many immortal kings on the same level as him, daring to challenge immortal emperors, and even killed the descendants of immortal emperors. So he is Bai Wuya. As expected, his demeanor is extraordinary, and what a powerful aura. Bai Wuya's white robes were extremely dazzling. Beside Dongxing Ting, there was also a young woman who exuded magnificence through the generations. She was riding on an azure wand, resembling a celestial maiden as a layer of holy light enveloped her. The people of the immortal realms all thought that the Evergreen Empire only had a single princess, Princess Qin. But they didn't know that when the Evergreen Immortal Emperor fought for the throne, there was a brother who played an extremely important role in the process. That brother was none other than the White Emperor, the legendary White Emperor. The Chongqing the Great and the White Emperor were the twin emperors of the immortal realms, causing the Evergreen Empire to be as stable as Mount Tai. The White Emperor only has a single daughter, and this daughter of his has heaven-defying talent. It's rumored that she inherited the White Emperor's ability to peer into the constellations in the sky and pry into the secrets of the heavens. The daughter of the White Emperor is the niece of the Chongqing the Great and was conferred the title of Princess Liuli. A supreme expert from the Dongshengshan Gate spoke, his eyes gleaming as he stared at the beautiful silhouette on the azure wand. Princess Qin only appeared later, and there were even more rumors regarding this Princess Liuli. She had the ability to pry into the secrets of the heavens, and since she came to the Dongshengshan Gate, she definitely had something important to do. Chapter 850. Dongxing Ting rode on an azure dragon while Princess Liuli rode on an azure wand. The two of them exuded magnificence through the generations, resembling an immortal couple. This scene was extremely impactful. The azure dragon Dongxing Ting is riding on is something his elder brother, Dongxing Yin, subdued in the azure dragon abyss and gifted to his youngest brother, Dongxing Ting, as a gift for breaking through to Immortal Foundation. It's rumored that back then, Dongxing Yin fought against the azure dragon for 18 days before he managed to subdue it. Everyone sighed in their hearts. The Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor had dominated the immortal realms for countless years, and each of his descendants were all extremely talented. Dongxing Ting was only the youngest, and he has already stepped into the Immortal Foundation realm. Many of his elder brothers were already famous characters that could shake an entire region, but they rarely appeared in the Eastern Sage Immortal sect. Most of them treated the Four Seas as their home, roaming the immortal realms. The gigantic azure dragon exuded an imposing aura. When its eyes swept past, it was as though everything in the world would grovel before it. Yet such a majestic azure dragon actually chose to submit to Dongxing Ting. Naturally, Princess Liuli's mount, the azure wand, also gave off an intense visual impact. This gigantic demonic beast not only exuded an imposing aura, it also exuded an incomparable sense of beauty, fitting perfectly with Princess Liuli's demeanor. Is that the legendary daughter of the White Emperor? She actually appeared here. In the direction of the Cloud Prefecture, the idle Cloud Immortal King mumbled. The mysterious and powerful White Emperor was rumored to be the brother of the Chongqing the Great. He had unfathomable abilities and was able to pry into fate. It was none other than him who assisted the Chongqing the Great in ascending to the throne, becoming the immortal emperor of the Immortal Empire. There were even rumors saying that because the White Emperor already knew the fate of the empire, he was willing to help the Chongqing the Great. The daughter of the White Emperor, Princess Liuli. Qin Wentian mumbled. Right now, the people at the banquet were all discussing about that peerlessly beautiful maiden in the air. He naturally could hear them. From these voices, he could even hear the words Chongqing the Great and Princess Qing'er. This daughter of the White Emperor seemed to be a sister of Qing'er, but as for the exact relationship between them, he had no idea. After all, Qing'er had only returned to the immortal realms for a few years. But no matter what, when he saw Princess Liuli, Qin Wentian felt that he was one step closer to Qing'er. Dongxing Ting and Princess Liuli finally arrived. They headed to the main seat of the banquet and sat down. An azure dragon and azure one hovered in the air, adding to the grandeur of this immortal banquet. During the immortal banquet, one would be able to view the azure dragon and azure one. Perhaps only in the Dongshengshan Gate would one be able to view such a magnificent scene. At this moment, at the immortal banquet, it was unknown how many people there were. The atmosphere was extremely lively as the host and guests respectively sat down. At the very top, the main seat was occupied by Dongxing Ting and some of the supreme experts of the Dongshengshan Gate, as well as the Deep Flame Immortal King and a few other powerful immortal kings under the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. The guest seats were Princess Liuli, as well as the Undying Immortal King, Scarce Moon Immortal King and other immortal kings with extremely high statuses. The seating arrangement was very clear based on the difference in strength and status. The space between each person was extremely vast, and there were also beautiful serving ladies around them. Anyone who had an order would be able to immediately step up to serve them. Those at the top of the stairs were all people with high statuses, and the vast majority of them were powerful immortal kings. Below them were the guests from the various major powers of the Eastern Prefecture. Immortal kings sat at the very front, while ordinary Immortal Foundation characters were all seated behind the leaders of their respective sections. After that, were the guests from the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures. The immortal kings who led the geniuses here, as well as the 160 core disciples. They were all seated at the very front, on the same level as the powerful immortals. As for the back, there were many Immortal Foundation characters, as well as the subordinates of the various major powers, as well as the guards and serving ladies of the Dongshengshan Gate. A dragon roar rang out. Dongxing Ting stood up, and a moment later, everyone stood up as well. Dongxing Ting raised his wine cup to everyone and smiled, "Today, I'm here on behalf of my father to host this banquet. Here, I, Dongxing Ting, would like to thank all the seniors present for attending this banquet. For this, let me toast first." As he spoke, Dongxing Ting drained the wine in his cup in a single gulp. Since he sat at the host's seat, it meant that this banquet would be hosted by him. He represented the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. Evidently, after Dongxing Ting stepped into the Immortal Foundation realm, the Eastern Sage Emperor was slowly pushing him to the front, allowing him to interact with experts from all over. This was also a type of tempering for one's state of heart. In such a grand occasion where experts were as common as clouds, not everyone would be able to control themselves. The more Dongxing Ting experienced, the more resolute his heart would be. His confidence would also accumulate, and his aura would also grow stronger and stronger. Everyone drank and offered their congratulations. There was an expert who laughed, "Today is a grand occasion of our sect. His Majesty will accept 3 new disciples and we came here to join in the fun. We hope that your Highness wouldn't blame us for interrupting. Since all of you are here, our sect is truly honored. My royal father would definitely feel gratified." Dongxing Ting stared at the person who spoke and smiled. After which, he raised his cup to the immortals from the 13 prefectures. The grand occasion of the Dongshengshan Gate is held once every 100 years. Although this isn't the only day we accept new disciples, this grand occasion is the one that the Dongshengshan Gate places the most importance on. My royal father would also accept 3 new disciples during this banquet. This banquet is to express the importance our Dongshengshan Gate has for the geniuses of the 13 prefectures, as well as the importance we place on the path of cultivation in the 13 prefectures. I, Dongxing Ting, would like to toast a toast to the geniuses of the 13 prefectures. Many thanks to your highness. The immortal kings of the 13 prefectures politely spoke as they drank their wine. The geniuses also drained their cups in a single gulp, their eyes gleaming with an intense light when they stared at Dongxing Ting. This was a true supreme character, the son of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. How dazzling was he! The moment he appeared, he rode on an azure dragon, exuding a majestic aura. Although they were geniuses from the 13 prefectures, their auras were incomparably inferior when compared to Dongxing Ting. This time around, they had to grab hold of this opportunity and fight for the favor of the immortal kings of the Dongshengshan Gate, accepting them as their personal disciples. Naturally, it would be best if they could become a sage child character and take the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor as their master. However, it was too difficult to become one of the top 3 rankers. Alright everyone, please be seated. Let's enjoy the immortal banquet together. Dongxing Ting smiled as he sat down. The others also sat down as they chatted and laughed, starting to enjoy the immortal banquet. There were many geniuses from the 13 prefectures. Although they were famous in their respective regions, in such an occasion, they felt somewhat restrained, as though they couldn't let loose. There were simply too many supreme characters here, any random one of them was an expert whose name could shake an entire region, someone they could only look up to. Senior brother, senior sister, the wine in this immortal banquet feels so good. There's even a delicacy to it, causing one's entire body to feel extremely comfortable. When I was in my particle world, although there were delicacies from the mountains and seas, I've never enjoyed such a high-grade immortal banquet before. Jun Mingchen started eating and drinking. With regards to these supreme characters, he couldn't be bothered with them. After all, this had nothing to do with him. His personality was carefree and unrestrained. Qin Wentian was still immersed in his thoughts. But upon seeing the appearance of Jun Mingchen, he couldn't help but to laugh. He also started to enjoy the delicacies and as expected, as soon as the food entered his stomach, a refreshing feeling permeated his entire body. It was as though the energy he expended during the battle earlier was being replenished. His injuries also healed perfectly, and he could feel the energy in his body circulating smoothly. The effect was even better compared to cultivation. Dongxing Ting sat on the host seat. He turned his gaze onto Princess Liuli beside him as he smiled. Princess Liuli, what are you looking at? At this moment, Princess Liuli was staring at the crowd below, her beautiful eyes gleaming with a profound light. I'm looking at the strength of the geniuses from the 13 prefectures. Princess Liuli casually replied. Dongxing Ting laughed. Later on, the geniuses of the 13 prefectures will undergo a tempering exercise and choose the most outstanding one. At that time, Princess will be able to see the strength of the geniuses with a single glance. It's just that Dongxing Ting is presumptuous. Since Princess came all the way here to attend the banquet of my Dongshengshan Gate, there should be a reason, right? Before this, he was extremely excited when he received the invitation card and ordered for the banquet to be prepared. The scale of the banquet had to be far greater than the past. Although the one who came in the end wasn't Qing, other than being surprised, Princess Liuli personally came here, he was also extremely happy. Being able to befriend the daughter of the legendary White Emperor was naturally a good thing. However, Dongxing Ting also knew that Princess Liuli wouldn't come here for a casual stroll. You wish to know? Princess Liuli's beautiful eyes stared at Dongxing Ting. The resplendent light in her eyes actually caused Dongxing Ting's heart to tremble. However, he was still as calm as ever as he smiled. If Princess finds it inconvenient to speak, there's no need to reply. I'm just casually asking. Nothing much, my royal father ordered me to come here for a stroll. Princess Liuli spoke in a low voice as she shifted her gaze away, causing Dongxing Ting's expression to stiffen. The White Emperor wanted Princess Lioli to come here for a stroll. What secrets were there behind this? However, since Princess Lioli didn't explain in detail, he naturally wouldn't probe any further. Princess Lioli was in high spirits. Although she was rumored to be able to pry into heavenly secrets, she herself understood that it wasn't so easy to do so. It was only because she was able to form an innate connection with a unique constellation that allowed her to see things that other stellar martial cultivators couldn't. And right now, she was still lacking a little. Her royal father, the White Emperor, had a much higher attainment in this aspect compared to her. The White Emperor told her that in the direction of the Eastern Prefecture, there was a resplendent astral soul in the airspace above the Eastern Prefecture. That astral soul was actually connected to the destiny of the Immortal Empire and could affect the destiny of the Empire. This was similar to the omen that the evergreen Immortal Emperor had shown back then. At this moment, her royal father only told her about this, he didn't even tell the Chongqing the Great. And right now, the Eastern Prefecture was about to welcome the grand event of the Dongshengshan Gate that occurs once every 100 years. Faintly, there seemed to be a miraculous connection. Hence, she, Princess Lioli, came here to participate in the immortal banquet of the Dongshengshan Gate. Dongshengting followed the gaze of Princess Lioli and stared at the people below. An instant later, his eyes abruptly flashed with a dazzling light. In fact, even his aura was released as he stared directly at one of the people here. Princess Lioli felt a little puzzled. She stared ahead and very swiftly, her eyes landed on a young man who was currently laughing and drinking wine. This young man seemed to be in high spirits and was currently chatting merrily with the people beside him. However, at this moment, he seemed to have sensed something as he turned his head back. His gaze pierced through space and landed on Dongshengting. Under the bewildered gaze of Princess Lioli, this mere celestial phenomenon ascendant actually didn't mask the sharpness in his eyes at all. He directly stared at Dongshengting with no fear or respect in his eyes. What sort of character was Dongshengting? He actually didn't care about him at all. In addition, Dongshengting seemed to be taken aback by the appearance of this young man. What was his identity exactly? You actually came here. Dongshengting suddenly spoke, his words causing the crowd to be startled. All of them halted and turned their gazes over. Who was this young man that could cause Dongshengting to be so concerned? Chapter 851. Dongshengting naturally cared. He was different from the Deep Flame Immortal King. In the eyes of the Deep Flame Immortal King, Qin Wentian was just a minor character, not enough to reach the apex. Hence, there was no need for him to waste too much attention on Qin Wentian, even if he came here to participate in the immortal banquet. But Dongshengting was different. If it was merely because of Qin Wentian's status, he would naturally disdain him. But this person was the young man Princess Qing'er was in love with. Back then, because of this insignificant character from this particle world, even the immortal Emperor Chongqing the Great was alarmed. His father also went to this particle world and used some methods to fool this person. But now, this young man actually didn't know what's good for him and came here to participate in the immortal banquet of the Dongshengshan Gate. Nobody was a fool. Since Qin Wentian came to the immortal realms, how could he not know that the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was the master of the Dongshengshan Gate? In that case, his reason for coming here was definitely worth pondering. I, Qin, came from the Cloud Prefecture and experienced the selection process to get here. Why? Does your Highness think that I, Qin Wentian, can't appear here? If this is the case, I, Qin, will bid my farewell and leave immediately. Qin Wentian stared at Dongshengting as he slowly spoke. Upon seeing the gaze Dongshengting was using on him, Qin Wentian could already be certain that the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was intentionally playing him. The casual conversation between the two of them instantly attracted the attention of everyone as they felt bewildered in their hearts. These two people who seemed to have nothing to do with each other, one was a lofty highness, the youngest son of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, Dongshengting. As for the other, although he was a heaven's chosen, he was only ranked number 27 from the Cloud Prefecture. By right, these two shouldn't have any interactions with each other. And even if they did, given Dong Xingting's status, he shouldn't have reacted in such a manner. Because, their statuses weren't equal at all. The countenance of the idle Cloud Immortal King changed. He stared at Qin Wentian. As expected, this young man had secrets on him. This genius who once caused a huge commotion in the Drifts Now city, not only was he acquainted with the Deep Flame Immortal King, even Dong Xingting was sensitive to his presence. How strange. The Scarce Moon Immortal King, Myriad Incarnations Immortal King, Undying Immortal King and the others were all extremely familiar with Qin Wentian. Back then, he was someone who almost snatched Kei Tianyi's position and became the Dongxing Heaven Ting, becoming the personal disciple of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. Princess Glaze's beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wentian. The matter between Qin and the Evergreen Immortal Emperor regarding Qin Wentian was something no one else knew. Princess Glaze had never heard of it before either. Hence, she was only curious now. Naturally. Dongxing Ting stared at Qin Wentian. In such a situation, despite his status, it was impossible for him to casually revoke Qin Wentian's qualifications. In addition, what reason could he use to expel Qin Wentian? Many supreme characters and Princess Liuli were watching from the side. If Princess Liuli knew of Qin Wentian and told Princess Qing'er about this in the future, Dongxing Ting would appear to be too despicable. I'm only a little surprised. You were born in a particle world and it must have been extremely difficult for you to reach where you are today. The Dongshengshan Gate is truly an opportunity for you. You better grasp it well and enter the Dongshengshan Gate. Work hard in your cultivation and in the future, you might have a chance to chase after the Immortal King realm. Although it's still too far for you now, there's still a chance. Dongxing Ting had a solemn expression on his face as he spoke to Qin Wentian. However, his tone was filled with a sense of loftiness. You, Qin Wentian, are merely someone born in a particle world. It's too difficult for you to grow. The Dongshengshan Gate can give you hope. Given your talent, the Immortal King realm is still too far away, you only have a sliver of hope. These polite words actually contained a sense of arrogance. However, nobody felt that there was anything wrong with this because the person who spoke was Dongxing Ting. If Qin Wentian was just an ordinary genius, they would also feel that it was normal. However, he was Qin Wentian. Staring at the disdainful attitude of Dongxing Ting, as though he was persuading a junior, Qin Wentian coldly laughed in his heart. His eyes were still staring at Dongxing Ting as a faint smile appeared on his face. Who on the path of cultivation isn't difficult? If you depend on the shadows of your ancestors to grow, how can you spread your wings and soar higher? Regardless of particle world or immortal realms, no matter if you are the son of immortal kings or immortal emperors, it's all the same. What's the difference? How many descendants of immortal kings and immortal emperors are useless? And how many ordinary characters have a meteoric rise up to the heavens? Even for those sons of immortal kings and immortal emperors, how many of them could surpass their ancestors who established their own world? Qin Wentian calmly spoke, his voice emotionless. You, Dongxing Ting, are the son of an immortal emperor. But what about your father, the Dongxing Heaven Emperor? Could it be that he didn't depend on himself? How many descendants of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor would be able to surpass him? On the path of cultivation, one still has to depend on oneself. Status and identity are all illusions. The cold eyes of the Deep Flame Immortal King slowly shifted away from Qin Wentian and the others, but he still remembered the names of these three. The rules for the selection are different for every 100 years. But the top three would definitely be the most outstanding ones. I wish to seek the opinions of everyone. What suggestions do you have? Dongxing Ting stared at the crowd. These 160 participants all had different cultivation bases, ranging from the first level to the 9th level of celestial phenomenon. Naturally, the rules wouldn't be so simple. If one wishes to become a sage child, they would naturally have to pass through many trials. This selection can't be too simple. An expert spoke. Everyone was very clear about this point. The geniuses below all listened seriously. No matter how powerful or distinguished these people were, the main characters of this immortal banquet were none other than them. And now, they were finally going to appear on stage. Chapter 852. The entire eastern Sage 13 prefectures were in an uproar, all for the sake of this immortal banquet. For this immortal banquet, the Dongxing Heaven Emperor would accept 3 disciples, the Dongshengshan Gate would accept 160 core disciples and 1,000 outer disciples. At the same time, the Dongshengshan Gate would also make use of this opportunity to recruit geniuses from all over the world, letting the people of the world remember their name, Dongshengshan Gate. For the sake of this immortal banquet, they had prepared too much. Just like what Senior has said, the rules cannot be too simple. The geniuses here have also experienced many trials and tribulations before they reached this step. Although they are qualified to become core disciples of the Dongshengshan Gate, the Dongshengshan Gate would still give out many rewards in order to encourage them to cultivate. I feel that for this immortal banquet, we should first choose the top 20 geniuses and bestow an immortal ranked weapon to each of them. Dongsheng Ting spoke. 20 immortal ranked weapons, to the Dongshengshan Gate, wasn't considered much. After that, for the top 10 and top 3 rankers, the rewards would be even more bountiful. This is especially so for those who will become the personal disciple of my royal father. This time around, the Dongshengshan Gate has already prepared some stunning treasures. I shall temporarily keep everyone in suspense and not reveal what the treasures are. For the disciple recruitment event of His Majesty, how can the immortal sect be small? I'm truly filled with anticipation. The undying old immortal king smiled. Even for an old fellow like me, I also want to take a good look at the treasures. I have a suggestion. At this moment, Princess Lioli, who was beside Dongxing Ting, spoke. Her words caused Dongxing Ting to turn his gaze over as he smiled at Princess Lioli. Princess, what suggestion do you have? Since these 160 geniuses have experienced many trials and tribulations before they reached this step, we shouldn't let a single battle determine their rankings. That would be too cruel and we wouldn't be able to clearly see the strength and potential of these geniuses. Princess Lioli calmly spoke. Princess Lioli's words are exactly what I want to say. If they are eliminated in a random battle, not only will they not be able to see their strength and potential, it will also be unfair. It's best to let each of them have more opportunities to fight and release their potential. The Scarce Moon Immortal King also spoke. The suggestion of the two of them received the approval of many. Indeed, if they were to be eliminated in the first round, what if there was someone powerful enough to fight against Gusu Tianqi? Isn't this too unfair? They can choose who they want to challenge, they can challenge those at the same level as them, or those with a higher cultivation level than them. The only exception is that they cannot challenge those below them. All the geniuses can fight as they wish, causing the heavens and earth to turn upside down. During the immortal banquet, all of us will be able to witness this chaotic battle. With the wisdom of the seniors, after the battle ends, we would naturally be able to choose the 20 most outstanding geniuses. What do you all think? Dongsheng Ting spoke. Good idea. In any case, since we are all here at the Dongshengshan Gate, let's take a good look at the glory of these junior geniuses. However, what if there are some who have too few battles? Someone asked. That's true. Hence, we will add another rule to the rules. Everyone has to choose 10 opponents and experience at least 10 battles. At the same time, as long as the cultivation base of the other participants isn't higher than you, you cannot reject them. For those who won all their battles, they are not allowed to use divine weapons or treasures. If one side concedes, the battle would cease immediately. Dongsheng Ting spoke. That's right. For this battle, we initially intended to allow the ascendants of the immortal kings to participate as well. But since the rules are like this, Why don't the ascendants of the immortal kings temporarily not participate and let them be the examinees for the later rounds? An immortal king of the Dongshengshan Gate suggested. The myriad incarnations immortal king glanced at Hua Taishu who was beside her. Before this, the immortal kings initially intended to allow their disciples to temper themselves, sparring against the geniuses from the 13 prefectures. Why must we do this? If the ascendants of the immortal kings are tempted by the sight of a dazzling genius, as long as they comply with the rules, even if the opponent's cultivation base isn't any lower than yours, they can still spar against him. Wouldn't this allow us to enjoy even more intense battles, allowing us to clearly see the strength of the geniuses? It's fine as long as they don't participate in the final rankings. The Scarce Moon Immortal King spoke. Good idea. Today, there are many immortal kings who brought their disciples here. They originally wanted to send their disciples to temper themselves against the geniuses. The Scarce Moon Immortal King's suggestion is truly brilliant. In that case, we would be able to enjoy this chaotic battle even more. The Deep Flame Immortal King laughed, as though he had already forgotten what happened earlier. However, after being smacked in the face by a junior, how could he forget just like that? Once the chaotic battle started, he would definitely let Qin Wentian know the meaning of regret. The Deep Flame Immortal King's disciple, Black Peak, had a higher cultivation base and it was impossible for him to challenge Qin Wentian. But over here, the disciples of his good friends could. In addition, a few of them were extremely powerful geniuses. Princess Lioli, what do you think? Dongxing Ting stared at Princess Lioli as he asked. This is His Highness's matter. However, this suggestion isn't bad. Princess Lioli calmly replied. Since Princess has put it this way, let's settle it like this. For the battles from now on, there are no specific rules, it's a chaotic battle. Whoever wishes to fight, they can go up to the battle platform at any time. The more outstanding one's performance is, the easier it would be for them to be remembered. All the immortal kings and immortal kings of the immortal realms are here to bear witness to this. Dongxing Ting spoke. His eyes turned ahead as he roared, "Start the battle platform." The voice of the gentle and cultured Dongxing Ting boomed like thunder, containing a supreme sharpness to it. The roars of dragons echoed in the air and in an instant, the sound of uniform footsteps rang out from afar. Immortal light illuminated the skies as an army of immortals from the Zhu Immortal Foundation descended, exuding a majestic aura. On the battle platform of the Green Cloud Hall, a bright light towered up into the skies as an ancient aura gushed forth. Ha! The immortals roared, their auras terrifying, as though they were cheering for the opening of the battle platform. Dongxing Ting stood up and stared ahead as he solemnly spoke. After 100 years, the battle platform of the Green Cloud Ancient Battle Platform shall be opened once again. All the geniuses shall contend against each other on the platform. This ancient battle platform that has witnessed the rise and fall of the Dongshengshan Gate shall witness yet another grand event of our Dongshengshan Gate. I hope that among the geniuses who ascended the battle platform today, there will be some who can become a supreme character of our Dongshengshan Gate in the future, opening up new territories and spreading our name throughout the world. Roar! The armored soldiers around the battle platform pointed their spears at the sky as terrifying beams of light shot up into the clouds. This was an ancient ceremony, causing the blood of the spectators to boil. What a powerful aura! The spectators felt their hearts trembling when they saw the army of 10,000 immortals. Such an aura was simply too terrifying. The relaxed atmosphere of the immortal banquet earlier instantly vanished as the atmosphere turned solemn. This place was the Dongshengshan Gate, the ruler of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures. Dongxing Ting floated in the air as an azure dragon roared in rage. He stood on the azure dragon and stared at the battle platform as he spoke. The battle platform of the Green Cloud Ancient Battle Platform shall be opened and the chaotic battle shall begin. Whoever wishes to fight, feel free to come up the platform. Those with outstanding performances will naturally be acknowledged. Who shall be the first to fight? Dongxing Ting's voice shook the heavens and earth, causing the entire space to tremble as the roars of dragons and the cries of azure wands echoed out. At the location of the Immortal banquet, the battle platform was opened. All the supreme characters were gathered here to spectate the battles. Who would be the first to fight? In the Immortal banquet, the various immortal kings and experts from the 13 prefectures stared at the geniuses as smiles could be seen on their faces. They also wanted to admire the magnificence of the geniuses of this batch of geniuses. Bzz. A gust of wind gusted by as a silhouette appeared on the platform. This person stood there, exuding a disdainful aura, exuding a magnificence that transcended through the generations. Everywhere his gaze passed by, no one dared to look straight at him. For those 6th-level ascendants at the same cultivation level as him, many of them actually averted their gazes when they saw him. This person was none other than the number 1 genius of the Eastern Prefecture, Wuxia. He was an innate immortal king and was said to have the highest chance of becoming an immortal emperor. He was someone with the highest chance of being accepted as a personal disciple by the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. By right, the first battle should be fought by him. Who shall be the first to fight? Wuxia calmly spoke. Silence filled the air and everyone discovered that when Wuxia stepped onto the battle platform, there was actually no one who dared to accept his challenge. It was as though this was the aura of the number 1 genius of the Eastern Prefecture, or even the number 1 genius of the 13 prefectures. Standing on the battle platform, no one dared to accept his challenge. You then. Seeing that no one dared to accept his challenge, Wuxia pointed his finger at an expert. This expert was none other than a 7th-level ascendant from the Rock Prefecture. Wuxia's cultivation base was at the 6th level of celestial phenomenon. For the first battle, he directly jumped levels to fight. That genius from the Rock Prefecture had a solemn expression on his face. His silhouette flickered as he arrived on the battle platform. Upon sensing the ancient aura emanating from the platform, his heart turned solemn as he stared at Wuxia. This was the most outstanding genius of this batch of participants. Boom! A towering battle might abruptly erupted forth from Wuxia as a battle halo flashed. In an instant, a terrifying astral wind gushed forth, akin to raging waves crashing against the shore. The robes of that 7th-level ascendant fluttered violently, as though they were about to be torn apart by the astral wind. In an instant, he released his constellation as a resplendent stone armor enveloped his entire body. Behind him, a stone giant appeared, containing boundless strength and an incomparably fearsome defense. He stood there like a mountain, staring at Wuxia. Boom, boom, boom. An incomparably resplendent battle light erupted forth from Wuxia, as dazzling as the blazing sun. His entire body was enveloped by the battle light, and he was like a divinity. With a thunderous boom, the platform trembled. Wuxia radiated an incomparably resplendent light as he rushed out, punching out towards his opponent. The instant this punch appeared, an incomparably resplendent fist light manifested in the air, wanting to penetrate through this entire space, destroying everything in its path. That genius from the Rock Prefecture roared as he unleashed his defense to the max. Rumbling sounds of collision rang out as the spectators only saw countless beams of light blasting into the body of that genius from the Rock Prefecture. The stone armor on his opponent's body shattered apart, and the countenance of that expert drastically changed. Facing against this battle god that was even more dazzling than the sun, he actually felt a sense of helplessness. I concede. That genius from the Rock Prefecture roared. Another thunderous boom rang out as his body was blasted off the platform, coughing out fresh blood. Wuxia slowly walked on the platform as the dazzling light radiating from him gradually dissipated. His silhouette flickered as he instantly returned to his seat. The number 1 genius of the Eastern continent was simply too dazzling. Chapter 853. Powerful. As expected of the top ranker of the Eastern Prefecture. It's rumored that Wuxia is able to jump 3 levels in battle. But right now, those who can still be seated here are all the most outstanding geniuses. I wonder how many levels Gusu Tianqi can jump if he goes all out. Given the strength he displayed earlier, if Gusu Tianqi unleashed his full strength, he might even be able to defeat many 8th level ascendants here. The hearts of the spectators mused. Ever since Gusu Tianqi participated in this banquet, he had already secured one of the top 3 rankings. In fact, he was already the number 1 ranker. Not bad. For the second battle, who would like to fight? Dong Xingting stepped down from the Azure Dragon and returned to his seat. Upon seeing the silence of the spectators, he asked again. Because Gusu Tianqi's first battle was too dazzling, many knew that if they were to fight, even if they could defeat their opponents, they would still pale in comparison to Gusu Tianqi's first battle. Hence, for the second battle, no one was willing to act. Allow me. A cold wind gusted by as a grey silhouette directly landed on the battle platform. He didn't have the aura of Gusu Tianqi earlier, but he gave off a feeling of coldness. This silhouette had a gloomy expression on his face. His skin was extremely white, without a trace of blood. His skinny frame was hidden within a loose grey robe, and his eyes gleamed with a sinister light, causing people to feel a sense of terror. This person's cultivation base was the same as Gusu Tianqi, at the 6th level of celestial phenomenon. An ancient medallion could be seen on his chest, indicating that he was the second ranker of the underworld prefecture, Xiaing. What a dense yin qi. The crowd stared at Xiaing only to see his countenance was pale white. His eyes flickered with a white light as he stared at the participants at the banquet. His voice was filled with yin qi as he spoke. Who is willing to come up and challenge me? Xiaing of the Underworld Prefecture. If he can defeat him, he would undoubtedly leave a deep impression in the hearts of all the supreme ascendants present. However, this Xiaing isn't someone easy to deal with. The other 6th level ascendants silently mused. However, only 20 geniuses would be selected for this round, with 2 for each level. For their level, they already had Gusu Tianqi. If they couldn't perform second best, it would be extremely dangerous for them. Since he had no way to defeat Gusu Tianqi, he had to defeat Xiaing. If not, the chances of him advancing to the next round would be too minuscule. Yi Changfeng and Xia Hanjiang both had the same thoughts. Both of them came from the Cloud Prefecture. Yi Changfeng was a disciple of the Myriad Sage Sacred Academy while Xia Hanjiang was from the Cloud Tower Sage Sect. The idle Cloud Immortal King casually glanced at them. The experts from their sects also came here and were all staring at them, hoping that they would be able to pass. Let me. Xia Hanjiang's figure suddenly dashed out. As a disciple of the Yunlu Holy Gate, he had many tricks up his sleeves, and all of them were shockingly powerful. Xia Hanjiang exuded a tyrannical aura as he landed on the platform. However, Xia Ying's silhouette instantly moved. He was like a shadow, elongating in the air as a bone-chilling cold gushed over. Xia Hanjiang roared in rage as he unleashed his constellation. However, at the same time, the sky suddenly darkened. That was Xia Ying's constellation. In the dark space, numerous silhouettes flickered unceasingly, emitting whistling sounds. Only the sounds of his silhouette could be heard. Xia Hanjiang frenziedly attacked, causing rumbling sounds to echo out unceasingly. Each of his attacks contained a towering might, the terrifying coldness transformed into mist, wanting to freeze this entire space. White mist rose up from the darkness. Swish! A terrifying ghost claw directly slashed through the air, as sharp as swords. The ghost claw glowed with a blood-colored light, and exuded an unfathomable toughness. Xia Hanjiang's countenance drastically changed. With a wave of his hand, an ancient cold underworld shield appeared. With a thunderous boom, a gigantic claw imprint appeared on the shield, but the sharp claw was nowhere to be seen. Chi! From another direction, another sharp claw slashed over. Xia Hanjiang abruptly turned and launched another attack. But in the next moment, the spectators only saw more and more gray silhouettes appearing in the darkness, increasing in number. At the very end, the entire space was filled with countless ghost claw attacks. Xia Hanjiang howled in rage, unleashing all his might in all directions. However, the spectators all understood that Xia Hanjiang would definitely lose this battle. His attacks were completely suppressed. And as expected, although Xia Hanjiang erupted forth with even greater might, the ending didn't change. Xiaoying also grew stronger and stronger, and at the very end, the millions of ghost claw attacks slashed down, almost claiming Xia Hanjiang's life. But luckily, he reacted in time and admitted defeat, only suffering injuries as he was forced to leave the battle platform. After Xiaoying defeated Xia Hanjiang, his silhouette flickered as he returned to the Immortal Banquet. The Idol Cloud Immortal King sighed silently when he saw the dispirited Xia Hanjiang returning. Xiaoying was the second ranker of the Underworld Prefecture, it was only normal for Xia Hanjiang to be defeated. This Xiaoying exuded a ghostly aura and was proficient in cold and sinister attacks. His weakness was head-on attacks, but that was only relative. If he was compared to Gu Zhantian, he would naturally be weaker, but he wasn't any weaker compared to Xia Hanjiang. Next, more and more experts stepped onto the platform to contend for supremacy. Numerous breathtaking battles erupted forth, and the combat prowess of the various geniuses caused even the supreme experts present to be stunned. The top ranker of the Cloud Prefecture, Gu Zhantian. Powerful, violet gold light, flood dragons shaking the skies, and the fist of the battle god, killing gods if they obstruct him. To think that there would be such a dazzling character in the Cloud Prefecture as well. Black Peak, the disciple of the Deep Flame Immortal King. Not bad, the destructive power of the Devil Abyss is too terrifying, it can destroy all enemies. Although his opponent is a heaven chosen, he was defeated very quickly. The battles continued unceasingly. When Black Peak fought, several people sighed in admiration. They stared at the Deep Flame Immortal King and laughed, the Deep Flame Immortal King's disciple is also so powerful. This young man still needs more tempering. The Deep Flame Immortal King was extremely satisfied with Black Peak's performance. But at the same time, the spectators were bewildered. Before this, Qin Wentian and the others said that Black Peak was almost killed by Qin Wentian. Did Qin Wentian really have such strength? The top ranker of the Qian Prefecture, Yi Qianchen, is elegant. The top ranker of the Li Prefecture, Cangyao, is tyrannical. The second ranker of the Eastern Prefecture, Xia Jiufeng, is crazy. Each and every one of these geniuses are truly worthy of being ranked at the top. How breathtaking! Other than Gusu Tianqi, who do you all favor more? As the battles continued, more and more geniuses stepped onto the platform. The atmosphere of the Immortal Banquet also gradually grew more intense. The disciple of the Deep Flame Immortal King, Black Peak, isn't bad. Someone spoke, giving face to the Deep Flame Immortal King. Tsang Ao is also very outstanding, I favor him more. It's hard to choose. The top ranker of the Blazing Sun Prefecture, Dugu Shishan. That blazing divine radiance he exudes is simply terrifying. Mo1 of the Supreme Moon Prefecture easily defeated his opponent. Although she hasn't unleashed her full strength, you all should be able to sense the aura she exudes. That should be an extremely rare physique. An immortal king stared at a female heaven chosen. This female was actually the top ranker of the Supreme Moon Prefecture. The top ranker of the Western Desert Prefecture has stepped out. At this moment, the crowd turned their gazes onto the platform. The top ranker of the Western Desert Prefecture was different from ordinary people. He had a pair of wings on his back and his entire body was covered in devil runes, as though he was clad in devil armor. He was 2 meters tall and exuded boundless might. His eyes gleamed with a terrifying light, capable of stirring the souls of people. The top ranker of the Western Desert Prefecture, Feather King. This man seems to be an expert from the winged devil race. A supreme immortal king stared at Feather King as his eyes gleamed with sharpness. That's right, Feather King is the king of the younger generation of the winged devil race. The patriarch of the winged devil race bestowed the name Feather King upon him. At the immortal banquet, the leader of the Western Desert Prefecture spoke, his words causing many immortal kings to turn their attention to Feather King. The winged devil race was one of the 3 strongest races of the Western Desert Prefecture. In fact, they had the title of the strongest race in the Western Desert. The experts of this race would temper themselves in the starry space and refine unparalleled wings, possessing a perfect physique. There was a secret art in their race that they would never impart to outsiders. The Dongshengshan Gate had repeatedly invited experts from the winged devil race to join them, but they were all rejected. Now that Feather King was here to participate in the training exercise of the Dongshengshan Gate, could it be that the winged devil race had thought things through? Things are getting more and more interesting. The Western Desert Prefecture is as expected of a place filled with powerful races. The top ranker of the Western Desert Prefecture is the winged devil race, while the second ranker is an expert from the heavenly deity race. The members of the winged devil race are incomparably gigantic and can transform into giants. They proclaim themselves to be the descendants of heavenly deities and have innate divine strength. The third ranker is an ascetic monk who might be a secret cultivator. The spectators discussed. At this moment, Feather King had already started his battle. His opponent was also a ranker ranked number 5 and had tyrannical strength. However, the resplendent violet gold wings on Feather King's back were so bright that they couldn't even see his shadow. He was simply too fast, so fast that it was inconceivable. His wings slashed out, resembling a supreme saber light that could cleave apart the heavens and earth. His opponent hurriedly defended against this attack, only to see Feather King's palms slamming down, manifesting dazzling devil runes. A thunderous boom rang out as his opponent screamed in agony. The palms he used to defend against Feather King's attack were all blasted apart as his body was blasted off the platform. Feather King floated in the air. With a flap of his wings, a beam of violet gold light flashed as he returned to his seat at the immortal banquet. Yet another demon-level character exuding magnificence throughout the generations. Is this the strength of a genius from the winged devil race? How terrifying! The spectators mused silently. This Feather King might even have the talent to contend against Gusu Tianqi. Those supreme immortal kings all had thoughts of accepting him as their disciple. As expected of the geniuses of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures, there were truly outstanding characters among them. Feather King might be another one of the top 3 rankers. In that case, there's only one slot left. I wonder who would be so outstanding. Earlier, weren't there a few people who spoke sharp words? Why haven't they stepped out yet? At this moment, the Deep Flame Immortal King turned his gaze onto Qin Wentian and the others. Jun Mengchen coldly snorted and was about to stand up only to see Qin Wentian speaking, "Mengchen, let me do it." Right. Upon seeing that Qin Wentian was about to act, Jun Mengchen sat back down. After which, Qin Wentian left his seat and walked out, stepping onto the battle platform for the first time. His gaze swept over the spectators. These 5th-level ascendants had all witnessed Qin Wentian's strength before. Very few of them dared to challenge him. Up until now, none of the disciples of the various immortal kings have appeared. It's about time for them to do battle. The Deep Flame Immortal King spoke in a low voice, his words causing the expressions of many to turn solemn. Seems like the Deep Flame Immortal King had been suppressing his anger all this while. Now, he finally wanted to use this person to vent his anger. Purgatory Immortal King, your disciple has inherited your legacy. Why don't you show him to broaden our horizons? The Deep Flame Immortal King glanced at a gigantic Immortal King who exuded a fearsome might. This person was a war general under the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, just like the Deep Flame Immortal King. His strength was extraordinary and he had a disciple at the 5th level of Celestial Phenomenon. Fine. Deep Flame, since you want to take a look, let that little fellow do it. The Purgatory Immortal King's voice boomed out like a great bell. A young man with eyes as bright as purgatory walked out, terrifying to the extreme. Chapter 854. This young man was none other than the personal disciple of the Purgatory Immortal King, Blaze. His cultivation base was the same as Qin Wentian, at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon. Blaze's combat prowess was extremely terrifying. Regardless of attack or defense, they were all at the demon level. The Deep Flame Immortal King and the Purgatory Immortal King were both war generals under the Dongxing Heaven Emperor, and they were naturally familiar with each other's disciples. The reason why he intentionally sent Blaze out was obvious. When Qin Wentian walked up the battle platform, the Deep Flame Immortal King immediately instigated the Purgatory Immortal King. A personal disciple of an Immortal King was definitely a demon-level character at the peak. The Deep Flame Immortal King wanted Qin Wentian to be defeated in the first battle and even die. Qin Wentian stood on the battle platform with his hands clasped behind his back, staring at the two powerful Immortal Kings before him. The Deep Flame Immortal King and the Purgatory Immortal King, as well as Blaze. Was the Deep Flame Immortal King going to display his dominance in his first battle? Not long ago, I had a verbal exchange with you. Everyone here should have heard it. I sent the personal disciple of the Purgatory Immortal King, Blaze, up because I want to verify if your arrogant words have sufficient strength to back them up. If you are defeated in this battle, I think you don't need to participate in the next battles. You don't have sufficient strength yet you still dare to talk back to me, the Deep Flame Immortal King? Such an arrogant and conceited person doesn't have the qualifications to advance to the next round. The Deep Flame Immortal King naturally understood that he was targeting Qin Wentian. Hence, he didn't mince his words. His voice was calm and emotionless, there were no flaws in his words. What sort of character was he, the Deep Flame Immortal King? Qin Wentian dared to talk back to him, it was indeed extremely disrespectful. If I lose, you will directly strip me of my qualifications. But if I win, what will Senior Deep Flame Immortal King do? Qin Wentian laughed. The Deep Flame Immortal King frowned as he coldly spoke, if you win, so be it. Just take it that I've misjudged you and acknowledged your talent. What else do you want this seat to do? A mocking smile appeared on Qin Wentian's face as he said, this is the Dongxing Gate. You are a senior immortal king, a general under the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. You can do whatever you want. Even if you want to expel me, I won't be able to resist. As long as you are happy. Qin Wentian's voice was filled with mockery and mockery. He slowly turned and walked to the center of the platform. Behind him, Lai's silhouette appeared as a fearsome purgatory demon manifested behind him. His body was surrounded by terrifying purgatory flames. You can't win. Blaze spoke. Rumbling sounds rang out as his body grew even taller, transforming into a terrifying lava giant that was over 100 meters tall. It was as though he truly came from the depths of purgatory, exuding a scorching heat that could even burn ordinary 5th-level celestial phenomenon ascendants to death. Really? Qin Wentian abruptly turned as thunderous rumbling sounds rang out. His body also grew over 100 meters tall as a stifling pressure gushed forth from the ancient battle platform. Only to see Qin Wentian's body radiating a dazzling light as though he was undergoing a transformation. His entire body shone with a resplendent battle halo as he activated his battle art. He was like a supreme war king as he stared at Lai, who was standing opposite him. Two giants, what powerful auras. The hearts of the spectators trembled. Lai, the personal disciple of the Purgatory Immortal King. Qin Wentian, a genius who dared to challenge the Deep Flame Immortal King. Although he was ranked number 27 in the Cloud Prefecture, his true strength would be revealed in this battle. You also cultivate your battle physique. But, is that all? Lai arrogantly spoke. Thunderous rumbling sounds rang out once more as his body grew even larger. He grew to 300 meters tall, resembling a true king of purgatory. His entire bloodline erupted forth as a dazzling fiery halo appeared around him, faintly forming a space of destruction. Anyone who dared to approach him would die. How strong can you be? I'm definitely stronger than you. Qin Wentian spoke in arrogance. After which, rumbling sounds rang out once more as his body also grew to a height of 300 meters. His primordial demonic bloodline erupted forth as his long hair fluttered in the wind, gleaming with a blood-colored light. Fine, let me see how many methods you have. Lai's constellation manifested as a boundless abyss of purgatory manifested. Boundless energy was channeled into his body, incomparably terrifying. At this moment it was as though Lai had truly stepped out from purgatory. Die! Lai punched out, shaking the heavens and earth. A fiery fist light that could destroy everything blasted towards Qin Wentian, sweeping out in all directions. Qin Wentian released his violet gold astral soul, suppressing his constellation as he blasted out with his palms, wanting to kill the immortal and devil. The attacks of the two of them collided in the air, transforming into an incomparably chaotic flow of energy. Lai stepped out, with just a single step, his body already appeared before Qin Wentian. Another punch blasted out as a fiery fist light enveloped this entire space, wanting to bury Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian didn't hold back and directly clashed head-on with Lai. Runic light circulated around his palms, capable of smashing down the sun and moon, shattering the constellations. Boom, boom, boom. The incomparably violent attacks deeply shocked everyone. The two of them fought with offense against offense. Neither of them defended, they used the most direct methods to clash against each other. Each of their attacks shook the heavens and earth, causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble unceasingly. Lai is as expected of a disciple of purgatory. This should be the hell-suppressing devil-subduing fist, able to suppress purgatory, causing all devils to submit. The power of this fist art only grows stronger as the battle goes on. Lai has yet to unleash his full power. An immortal king spoke. It's just that this young man is able to clash head-on with Lai. He can already be considered not bad. No wonder he is so arrogant. The deep flame immortal king coldly stared at Qin Wentian. At this moment, Lai's aura grew even more violent, soaring up once again. Each of his punches contained boundless destructive might, transforming into chaotic currents of energy that destroyed everything in its path. If it wasn't for the fact that Qin Wentian had cultivated the fiend god heavenly suppression art, he would have long since died. It's time to end this. Lai roared in rage. Both his fists swept out, destroying the heavens and earth, leaving only purgatory behind. However, Qin Wentian roared in rage as his battle halo erupted forth once more. The battle light radiating from him grew even more intense as his attack power increased by several times. Terrifying runic light circulated around his palms as dazzling runic inscriptions circulated around him. When he blasted out with his palms, an incomparably powerful might enveloped the entire space before him, transforming into a formless barrier that could suppress the heavens and earth. Lai's fearsome attacks still had no way to break through Qin Wentian's defense. Roar! Lai let out a frenzied howl. The two of them fought from the platform all the way up into the air, causing chaos to erupt in the air, yet there was still no victor to be determined. Finally, an incomparably dazzling light flashed as a towering boom rang out. The two of them separated, standing at the two ends of the platform as they stared at each other. Lai still hasn't won. The various immortal kings were all bewildered. That several hundred-meter tall Qin Wentian exuded an incomparably demonic aura, and his talent was also extremely high. Just based on this battle alone, it should be sufficient for him to advance to the next round. Your strength isn't bad. Lai stared at Qin Wentian as his eyes turned heavy. Even with such strength, he still couldn't defeat his opponent. This Qin Wentian was truly very powerful. Qin Wentian glanced at Lai as he emotionlessly spoke, "Is this all your strength?" Lai's abyss-like eyes narrowed as he stared at Qin Wentian. How brazen was this voice? If this is the case, I've played with you for so long. Let's end it here. Qin Wentian emotionlessly spoke. With a stomp of his foot, a thunderous boom rang out, causing the entire space to tremble violently. After that, numerous figures of Qin Wentian appeared in the air, each of them several hundred meters tall. With so many of them appearing at the same time, it truly caused the heavens and earth to collapse. Scram! Qin Wentian roared in rage. After that, the numerous figures all attacked at the same time. In an instant, a gigantic palm imprint blotted out the sky. Lai's countenance turned pale. Despite his strength, he actually felt a sense of helplessness at this moment. How could he defend against such a tyrannical attack? Earlier, was he just playing around? Lai howled in rage. Boundless purgatory light radiated forth as he unleashed his strongest attack towards a certain direction. The destructive might blasted downwards as rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly. Very soon, Lai was blasted by the gigantic palm imprint. Boom, boom, boom. The incomparably tyrannical attack blasted Lai off the platform, causing his gigantic body to be hurled towards the direction of the immortal banquet. The Purgatory Immortal King stretched out his palm, directly grabbing hold of Lai's body. After that, he retracted his palm as Lai's body reverted back to his original size. His entire body was still trembling from the impact, he was clearly heavily injured. The gazes of the crowd stared at the silhouette of Qin Wentian on the platform as great waves appeared in their hearts. The strength of this young man had far surpassed their expectations. With such a terrifying attack, it was extremely rare for someone at the same level to be able to defeat him. The disciple of the Purgatory Immortal King, Lai, was defeated. Senior Deep Flame Immortal King, are you satisfied with the ending of this battle? Qin Wentian stared at the Deep Flame Immortal King, as though he was intentionally making things difficult for the Deep Flame Immortal King, not giving him any face at all. Being arrogant because of your talent, I truly want to see how far you can go. The Deep Flame Immortal King was still as cold as ever as he spoke. If I wasn't intentionally targeted, at the very least, I should be able to walk further than your disciple. Qin Wentian replied. After which, he turned his gaze onto the crowd as he spoke, is there anyone else who is willing to fight? Feel free to come up. There's no need to fight. I've long been convinced by Brother Qin's strength. For 5th level ascendants, I'm afraid there's no one who has the qualifications to challenge Brother Qin. If there's a need for 10 battles, just treat it as me conceding one. A 5th level ascendant spoke. This was none other than one of the experts who followed Qin Wentian before this. That's right, given Brother Qin's strength, he would definitely advance to the next round. Just treat it as me conceding. I concede as well. The experts spoke one after another. Very swiftly, over 10 of them directly conceded, taking it as Qin Wentian's victory. This scene caused the spectators to feel a wave of shock. This Qin Wentian was actually so popular. If this was the case, there was basically no one else who could challenge him. For 5th level ascendants, only Su Feng, Lu Longcloud and a few others had unsightly expressions on their faces. Before this, they felt that those who followed Qin Wentian were simply courting death. But who would have thought that Qin Wentian was the one who protected them? In addition to personally witnessing Qin Wentian's combat prowess, they truly didn't have the confidence to contend against Qin Wentian. Chapter 855. The 5th level ascendants took the initiative to concede because they wanted to give face to Qin Wentian. Before this, they were all indebted to Qin Wentian, which allowed them to survive and advance to the next round. Even if they couldn't advance further, they would still be able to become core disciples. Hence, they naturally felt gratitude towards Qin Wentian in their hearts. However, right from the start of the battle, the Deep Flame Immortal King seemed to be intentionally targeting Qin Wentian. Hence, they all supported Qin Wentian, and in addition to Qin Wentian's overwhelming combat prowess, even if the Deep Flame Immortal King had something against Qin Wentian, it was impossible for him to deprive Qin Wentian of his qualifications to advance to the next round, right? For the 5th level ascendants, there were only a few who have yet to express their stance. Qin Wentian turned his gaze onto them. Since he had already stepped onto the battle platform and the majority of the participants were willing to concede, he didn't want to disappoint the expectations of these people. Hence, he decided to end this battle in one go. Since everyone at the 5th level of Celestial Phenomenon was defeated by him, what reason would the Deep Flame Immortal King have to obstruct him? Qin Wentian stretched out his gigantic palm and pointed towards Lu Longcloud as he spoke, "You first." Lu Longcloud's countenance instantly froze as he stared at the terrifying giant. Not only that, this incomparably fearsome body was shrouded in a resplendent battle halo. His eyes gleamed with a terrifying blood-colored light and he stood there like a towering ancient mountain peak, like a divinity giant, giving off a feeling of invincibility. Before this, Lu Longcloud was filled with disdain towards the number 27 ranker of the Cloud Prefecture, Qin Wentian. This was especially so when the geniuses of the Sage Devil Gorge chose to follow Qin Wentian. But after personally witnessing Qin Wentian's battle earlier, his confidence was already shattered. Even if he was the number 2 ranker of the Jing Prefecture. However, since Qin Wentian challenged him, he had no other choice. Standing up, Lu Longcloud's silhouette flickered as he landed on the platform. Although he was standing in the air, he still had to incline his head to stare at the several hundred-meter tall giant. It was simply too gigantic, resembling an iron pagoda. Lu Longcloud's silhouette rose higher and higher as he soared through the air. When he arrived at Qin Wentian's chest, he only saw a pair of gigantic blood-colored eyes staring at him, causing Lu Longcloud's heart to tremble. His aura had already weakened by several degrees. "Get lost." Qin Wentian spoke to Lu Longcloud, his words causing Lu Longcloud's countenance to instantly turn ashen. Although Qin Wentian was powerful, wasn't he a little too impolite? Boom! In an instant, Lu Longcloud's tyrannical aura, as the number 2 ranker of the Jing Prefecture, completely erupted forth. A surge of destructive qi shot up into the clouds, but at this moment, a third eye appeared in the center of Qin Wentian's brows. With just a single glance, Lu Longcloud only felt the heavens changing. This place transformed into a dreamlike world of stars, and a towering suppression might gushed forth frenziedly. Qin Wentian stood in this starry space. He lifted his hands as numerous ancient bells flashed, eventually converging into a gigantic golden bell. Boundless destructive tribulation might gushed forth from it, containing a terrifying might capable of destroying the heavens and earth. Lu Longcloud could feel the destructive might of this entire starry space. His countenance turned pale. At this moment, Qin Wentian was like a divinity. Such strength caused him to feel a sense of helplessness. He was the number 2 ranker of the Jing Prefecture, yet he had no way to shake this divinity before him. Boom! The bell chimes rang out. Qin Wentian brandished the gigantic bell and smashed it towards Lu Longcloud. In just an instant, boundless tribulation light blasted forth, enveloping Lu Longcloud. It was like a million bolts of tribulation lightning cascaded down from the heavens, wanting to destroy everything. Lu Longcloud roared in rage, resisting the boundless tribulation light. However, he only saw the gigantic bell descending from the heavens. His countenance turned pale as his heart trembled. If he was enveloped by this ancient bell, what would the consequences be? Lu Longcloud didn't dare to think about it. A look of struggle flashed in his eyes as he roared, "I concede." This roar of his seemed to have exhausted all the strength in his body. From a certain perspective, the battle between the two of them had yet to erupt. The number 2 ranker of the Jing Prefecture, Lu Longcloud, didn't dare to continue fighting. He was afraid that if he continued fighting, the consequences would be unimaginable. The ancient bell paused in the air as the boundless tribulation light dissipated. The heavens and earth regained their clarity. Lu Longcloud inclined his head and stared at the sky. The sunlight cascaded downwards, yet it was extremely blinding. In just a short period of time, Lu Longcloud felt as though he had experienced an extremely long period of time. To him, this battle was akin to a calamity. Drawing in a deep breath, Lu Longcloud glanced at the gigantic body of Qin Wentian before turning and walking down the platform. It was as though his ranking as the number 2 ranker of the Jing prefecture was only to serve as a foil to enhance Qin Wentian's strength. The number 2 ranker of the Jing prefecture is truly disappointing. An immortal king spoke in a low voice. Although Qin Wentian was very powerful, this Lu Longcloud was truly too weak. He had already admitted defeat before the battle even started. Emicham. The others nodded their heads, feeling disappointed with Lu Longcloud's performance. Lu Longcloud's countenance dimmed as his body trembled. He was the number 2 ranker of the Jing prefecture. Could it be that he had no fate to be in the top 20? It seemed that he had already left behind a bad impression on the immortal kings. This number 27 ranker of the Cloud prefecture, Qin Wentian, isn't bad. He's a talent worth nurturing. A supreme immortal king from the Dongshengtian Gate spoke. He turned his gaze to Dongshengting as he asked, "Your Highness, what do you think of this young man?" Dongshengting and Qin Wentian seemed to have a grudge between them. He asked Dongshengting because he wanted to see if this grudge could be resolved. After all, from their perspective, Qin Wentian was someone qualified to enter the Dongshengtian Gate. If they nurtured him well, he would eventually become a member of their Dongshengtian Gate. Given Dongshengting's status and identity, there was no need for him to be too calculative with Qin Wentian. Although he's a little arrogant, his combat prowess isn't bad at all. Let's see his later performances. Dongshengting appeared magnanimous as he stared at the gigantic silhouette. He didn't expect that Qin Wentian didn't take his father, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, as a master, yet he still grew so quickly. Such a speed of growth didn't lose out in the slightest to the personal disciples of those supreme immortal kings. That supreme immortal king nodded his head as he continued staring at the battle platform. "You, come up and fight." Qin Wentian pointed to another person. This person was none other than the number 3 ranker of the Yu prefecture. He was also at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon and was one of the rare few who had yet to admit defeat. Seems like he wants to sweep through the entire 5th level of celestial phenomenon. In that case, he would directly become the king of this level and advance to the next round. No one would be able to object. The spectators understood Qin Wentian's thoughts when they saw this. Even if the Deep Flame Immortal King had some objections against him, no one would be able to stop him from advancing to the next round. The silhouette of the number 3 ranker of the Yu prefecture flickered as he stepped onto the platform. Qin Wentian used the same method he used against Lu Longcloud. His ancient bells suppressed everything, directly blasting towards his opponent below. There were no surprises. Upon feeling this pressure, the number 3 ranker of the Yu prefecture felt his heart trembling just like Lu Longcloud. However, he didn't retreat. Lu Longcloud had already been rejected by many immortal kings. When facing the same move, he had no reason to retreat. The end result was that his soul trembled from the impact, as though he was on the verge of collapse. The boundless suppression might as well as the towering calamity light blasted over, causing him to cough out fresh blood. In fact, he didn't even have the time to admit defeat. Finally, Qin Wentian released him. But when he exited the battle platform, the body of the number 3 ranker of the Yu prefecture was trembling uncontrollably. His aura was extremely weak and his eyes were filled with fear. Even the top 3 rankers of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures couldn't even withstand a single strike. This Qin Wentian is simply too tyrannical after he unleashed his strength. There's simply no one who can block him. Senior brother is so awe-inspiring. A clean smile could be seen on Jun Mengchen's face. Zi Qingxian was frowning. She and Qin Wentian were both 5th level ascendants. Although Qin Wentian wouldn't fight against her, Qin Wentian's performance was just too domineering. For those at the same level as Qin Wentian, they all paled in comparison. Unless she also unleashed her strength in a dazzling manner, only then would there be a chance for her to ascend to the next level. To think that Qin Wentian is so outstanding. In the Cloud Prefecture's camp, the idle Cloud Immortal King had a smile on his face. Qin Wentian was too dazzling, even more so compared to the selection battle on the Cloud Heaven Arena. Before this, the top ranker of the Cloud Prefecture, Gu Zhantian, was already extremely dazzling. Now, Qin Wentian and Jun Mengchen were also extremely outstanding. In this immortal banquet, the geniuses of the Cloud Prefecture could be said to have truly shone brightly. However, there were many major powers of the Cloud Prefecture who had grudges with Qin Wentian. Their countenances were all extremely unsightly to behold. Qin Wentian's performance was too dazzling. If he really managed to ascend to the top 3, his status would instantly rise to a terrifying height, becoming a sage child character of the Dongshengshan Gate. He is indeed very outstanding, but right now, he is still at the same level. Gusu Tianqi directly jumped levels, the disparity is still too great. There's also Feather King, Xia Jiufeng and the others, all of them are supreme demon-level geniuses. Gu Zhantian of our Cloud Prefecture is similarly outstanding, but right now, he is still very far away from the top 3. Someone at the side spoke in a low voice. What you said is logical. Among the 5th level of celestial phenomenon, there's a top ranker of the Thunder Prefecture, Su Feng. Let's see what would happen between him and Qin Wentian. If Qin Wentian can defeat Su Feng, he would already be able to ascend to the next round and there's no need for him to fight anymore. The idle Cloud Immortal King laughed. After Qin Wentian swept away all the 5th level ascendants, his gaze finally landed on the top ranker of the Thunder Prefecture, Su Feng. In the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures, the top ranker of any prefecture would definitely be extremely powerful. Although the Thunder Prefecture wasn't one of the strongest prefectures, the strength of the top ranker was still unfathomable. He might be weak or extremely strong because he already stood at the peak of the prefecture. Come up and fight. Qin Wentian stared at Su Feng as he spoke. Su Feng seemed to have long been prepared. His gaze was incomparably sharp as he directly stood up and stepped out, walking up the battle platform. An incomparably dazzling demon-level genius, ranked number 27 of the Cloud Prefecture, against Su Feng at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon. This battle was extremely important. The victor between them would definitely be able to ascend to the top 20, determined in a single battle. Chapter 856. On the battle platform, Qin Wentian and Su Feng stood facing each other. Qin Wentian's several hundred-meter tall frame towered up into the skies. Su Feng, who stood beneath his feet, seemed so tiny and insignificant, as though Qin Wentian would be able to trample him to death with a single stomp. However, Su Feng's aura was completely different from the earlier participants. He stood beneath Qin Wentian with his hands clasped behind his back, inclining his head and staring at the incomparably gigantic frame with a calm countenance. He was the top ranker of the Thunder Prefecture. At the 5th level of celestial phenomenon, he was the only one who was the top ranker of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures. He initially thought that to him, this battle would be an extremely simple one. But to think that Qin Wentian actually appeared. Qin Wentian had the strength to suppress everything. His gigantic frame towered over him as though there was no one at the same level who could destroy him. But even so, it was impossible for Su Feng to have the mentality of cowardice. Taking a step back, even if Qin Wentian really had heaven-defying capabilities and could defeat him, he would still be able to fight for a chance to appear. There were 20 participants, and even if there were 2 for each level, there would only be 18. Even if he was defeated, he wanted to do so in a glorious manner, letting the Immortal Kings know how powerful he was. If he won this battle, he would definitely appear. But if he lost, he would be the same as Qin Wentian, sweeping through all the other 5th level ascendants. Qin Wentian lowered his head and stared at Su Feng. From the calmness in Su Feng's eyes, it was as though he could see a dancing flame. This top ranker of the Thunder Prefecture naturally wouldn't be the same as the earlier participants. A terrifying might gushed forth. Qin Wentian waved his hands as bell chimes rang out, manifesting a gigantic ancient bell in the air. Boom! Rumbling sounds of thunder rang out. In an instant, the calm Su Feng erupted forth with a heaven-shaking might. A bolt of lightning flashed as Su Feng's silhouette directly vanished, leaving behind only a terrifying beam of light in the air. In the air, a resplendent beam of light appeared. Qin Wentian abruptly felt an intense sense of danger. A thunderous boom rang out as a dazzling beam of light appeared before him. It was actually none other than Su Feng who appeared before him. That incomparably tiny body of Su Feng actually blasted out a fearsome fist light that contained the power to lacerate everything. Even before the attack landed, Qin Wentian already felt as though the skin on his face was about to be torn apart. The spectators at the Immortal banquet were all stunned by this sudden scene. This Su Feng's explosive strength was truly powerful. His reputation as the top ranker of the Thunder Prefecture definitely wasn't undeserved. In the Immortal banquet, at the location where the experts of the Thunder Prefecture gathered, the leader of the Immortal Kings of the Thunder Prefecture had a cold smile on his face. Qin Wentian was powerful, but if these people really thought that Qin Wentian could defeat Su Feng so easily, they would be gravely mistaken. He has governed the Thunder Prefecture for many years, but it was extremely rare to see a young man as outstanding as Su Feng. This was an extremely rare demon-level character. His combat prowess would surely give the Immortal Kings a pleasant surprise. It was also good that Qin Wentian's earlier performance was so domineering. In that case, Su Feng's combat prowess would also be brought out. Spatial energy and wind energy. What sort of characters were the experts here? In fact, there were even many Immortal Kings among them. They could tell with a single glance that Su Feng had unleashed many different types of true intents in an instant. Being able to instantly appear before Qin Wentian's eyes before Qin Wentian's attack, this was the power of space and wind. As for this punch of his, it contained the fusion might of thunder, space, wind, as well as another true intent, transforming into a supremely terrifying lacerating might. If this punch landed on Qin Wentian's head or eyes, it would definitely cause a fatal injury. It was extremely terrifying. At the center of Qin Wentian's brows, a third eye appeared, radiating a terrifying light that directly shot into Su Feng's eyes. The two of them once again entered a dreamlike starry space, but in this starry space, Su Feng's fist was still as stubborn as before, like a hot knife through butter, wanting to smash into Qin Wentian's head no matter what. This attack was too sudden, so sudden that it caused everyone to be startled, even causing Qin Wentian to be caught unprepared. However, he still opened his mouth and directly breathed out a breath of air. In an instant, countless ancient bells revolved around him, blasting towards Su Feng. The sound of the bell chimes rang out unceasingly. Su Feng's fist blasted out, tearing apart the ancient bells one after another. However, the number of ancient bells that Qin Wentian breathed out seemed to be able to engulf Su Feng. Even after shattering the ancient bells, there was no end to them. Die! Su Feng roared in rage as his constellation appeared. His entire person radiated with a boundless lacerating light, as though the entire space was about to be torn apart. Su Feng had no fear, his body was like a beam of light as he sped forward, tearing apart all the ancient bells. No one could block him. Finally, he saw the gigantic face of Qin Wentian. But at this moment, Qin Wentian's terrifying palm directly blocked his vision. Qin Wentian's palm was simply too large, it could easily engulf Su Feng. As long as Qin Wentian raised his hand, Su Feng wouldn't be able to see what was in front of him. This palm shone with terrifying runic light, containing a towering might. Evidently, Qin Wentian didn't dare to underestimate Su Feng in the slightest. Boom! Without the protection of the ancient bells, in an instant, the might of the sky splitter fist which should have blasted into Qin Wentian's head, blasted into the gigantic palm imprint. The terrifying lacerating might drilled into the center of the palm, causing fresh blood to appear. Qin Wentian's gigantic palm closed, as though he wanted to crush Su Feng within it. Su Feng's countenance turned cold. His palm abruptly trembled as spatial light enveloped his body. In an instant, Su Feng's body vanished from sight. It was as though a beam of illusory light had flown out from the palm that was about to close. Qin Wentian retracted his gigantic palm imprint as he stared at it. Fresh blood could be seen flowing out from there. The terrifying might of the gigantic palm imprint was broken apart by Su Feng's attack. Qin Wentian's gigantic eyes stared ahead, only to see Su Feng standing in the air, bathing in a resplendent golden screen of light. Although your attacks are powerful, given the size of your battle physique, there's basically no way for you to touch me. Su Feng spoke. In the air above his head, his constellation flickered as a terrifying tempest manifested. Within the tempest, there was a power that could lacerate everything. At the same time, there was also a lotus flower that enveloped Su Feng's body. This was a different type of constellation energy that contained fearsome spatial fluctuations. Bzzz. An intense spatial fluctuation gushed forth as Su Feng's silhouette vanished. Qin Wentian instantly sensed a terrifying aura gushing towards him. He abruptly turned as rumbling sounds echoed out. However, in the next instant, the spatial fluctuations gushed forth once again. Su Feng's silhouette flickered continuously, appearing behind Qin Wentian and to his side. Qin Wentian's gigantic body seemed to be restricting his agility. Finally, behind Qin Wentian, Su Feng's attack arrived, directly blasting towards Qin Wentian's head. A powerful beam of light shot out as the tempestuous tempest manifested, capable of ripping apart the sky. Boom! A thunderous boom rang out. Qin Wentian's gigantic body instantly shrunk. Su Feng's attack that could tear apart space directly slammed into empty air. Lowering his head, he saw Qin Wentian appearing on the battle platform below. Qin Wentian had returned to his normal size, but his entire body was still flowing with terrifying runic light. It was like his entire body was made up of runic inscriptions. He reverted back to his normal size. This Su Feng is so powerful, he actually forced Qin Wentian to revert back to his normal size. In the same situation, stellar martial cultivators who are proficient in spatial laws would indeed have a higher advantage. If Qin Wentian's attack was weakened, Su Feng might not necessarily lose this battle. Seems like Qin Wentian isn't as strong as we imagined. It's just that his gigantic body gave off a strong impact. Became smaller. That immortal king from the Thunder Prefecture had a cold smile on his face. Su Feng hasn't unleashed his full strength yet. When Su Feng unleashed his true killing move, would Qin Wentian be able to withstand it? On the battle platform, Qin Wentian and Su Feng stared at each other as the tempest in the air gushed towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian didn't move, releasing his heavenly suppression astral soul behind him. At the same time, his dreamworld astral soul shone brightly, enveloping Su Feng within it as well. The constellations of the two of them clashed in the air. Su Feng's heaven-rending tempest, Qin Wentian's suppression golden body unceasingly emitted terrifying rumbling sounds. Even if they didn't attack, their constellations were sufficient to kill ordinary characters at the same level. Qi. Su Feng transformed into a beam of light once again, shooting towards Qin Wentian. At the same time, a pair of resplendent golden rock wings appeared behind Qin Wentian's back as a brilliant light radiated forth. His body underwent another transformation as he directly executed two different battle arts. His silhouette flickered as he transformed into a wind rock, vanishing from his original location. The two of them were like two shadows, two beams of light. Boom! In a certain direction, a terrifying light flashed as terrifying energy radiated outwards in all directions. However, the two of them separated the moment they came into contact. Su Feng, who was enveloped by spatial energy, was able to instantly teleport to many different locations. However, Qin Wentian was like a true rock king. The instant Su Feng appeared in a certain direction, Qin Wentian's silhouette would instantly arrive as his attack arrived together with Su Feng. How fast, I can't even see them. The celestial phenomenon ascendants at the Immortal banquet all felt their hearts pounding. The two of them were like two beams of light, clashing against each other with terrifying might. Not only that, each time they clashed, they would be in a different location. Slash! Abruptly, a roar of rage rang out. This was none other than Su Feng. He clashed with Qin Wentian many times, and every time he used spatial energy to teleport, Qin Wentian would be able to catch up to him in an extremely short period of time. Clearly, Su Feng was at a disadvantage as his arms were already trembling. But at this moment, a beam of light slashed out, wanting to split the heavens apart. Qin Wentian's silhouette flickered as he instantly dodged to the side. This beam of light slashed towards him, causing Qin Wentian to feel an intense sense of danger. 10,000 mammoth slaughter. The geniuses and immortal kings from the Thunder Prefecture all had solemn expressions on their faces. After that, they saw Su Feng's incomparably exquisite spatial movements as beams of killing light shot out. Each beam of light contained a killing intent. Qin Wentian unceasingly evaded the attacks of the 10,000 mammoths, but as Su Feng moved, the space around him was completely locked down by the 10,000 mammoths. The eyes of those immortal kings all gleamed with a dazzling light. The might of this slaughter had truly returned to the natural state, fusing true intent, constellations and immortal arts into one, transforming the simplest of attacks into the strongest. Bzz, bzz, bzz. In the airspace above Gu Zhantian, countless silhouettes of Qin Wentian suddenly appeared. A long spear appeared in their hands at the same time, gleaming with terrifying runic light. Although Su Feng was still in the midst of slaughtering Qin Wentian, his countenance changed when he sensed the power of the many long spears gushing forth from Qin Wentian. Scram! A voice rang out from Qin Wentian's mouth. The millions of silhouettes all stabbed out at the same time, and at this instant, a formless oppressive might transformed into an incomparably terrifying law energy, causing the entire heavens and earth to come to a standstill. Su Feng howled madly, the 10,000 mammoth slaughter transformed into a beam of killing light. However, he only saw boundless runic light shooting up into the sky, devouring everything. Su Feng was enveloped by the spatial energy. He retreated, only to see the numerous Qin Wentian chasing after him. Each of them was a wind rock, and the devouring energy continued upwards. Su Feng felt as though his body was about to be torn apart as his breathing became ragged. I've lost. A voice rang out from Su Feng's mouth, as though this was the end of everything. Su Feng was defeated. The number one genius of the Thunder Prefecture, a demon-level character so strong that it exceeded everyone's expectations, yet he still couldn't reverse the situation. In front of the tyrannical Qin Wentian, he was still defeated. Chapter 857. On the battle platform, Qin Wentian's silhouette floated in the air. Although Su Feng was floating in the air, there were hints of dispiritedness in his eyes. He was defeated. As the top ranker of the Thunder Prefecture, he was actually defeated in a battle at the peak of the 5th level of celestial phenomenon. At this level, Qin Wentian was already guaranteed to pass the preliminary round. Everyone had witnessed the results of the battle, no one could deny his strength. If he, Su Feng, wanted to pass the preliminary round, he needed to have a dazzling performance in the other battles, gaining the recognition of the immortal kings. Among the 13 prefectures, there are a total of 13 top rankers. This Su Feng is the first, yet the top ranker was defeated. Someone in the Immortal banquet commented. Although the combat prowess of the top ranker of the Thunder Prefecture isn't bad, Qin Wentian is even stronger than him. He's invincible at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon. He's on the same level as Gusu Tianqi, Feather King, Cang Ao, Yi Qianqian, Dugu Shishan and the others. He should be able to pass the preliminary round. Not bad, the geniuses of this batch are all very outstanding. Let's continue watching the later battles. If there aren't any more outstanding geniuses appearing, maybe this young man would already be ranked within the top 10. That's true. From the looks of things now, given the talent of this young man, he should be able to enter the top 10. Many immortal kings acknowledged Qin Wentian's combat prowess. The Idle Cloud Immortal King had a smile on his face. The genius he brought from the Cloud Prefecture defeated the top ranker of the Thunder Prefecture. He was also proud of this. Right now, at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon, Qin Wentian only lacked the chance to fight against Zi Qingxian. He naturally wouldn't challenge Zi Qingxian. Also, he knew that he's already in the limelight. Next, he had to give Zi Qingxian a chance to perform. After all, they were at the same cultivation level and a conservative estimate would be that there would only be 2 slots for each cultivation level. This round of battles shall end here. It's enough. Qin Wentian silently mused. After which, his silhouette flickered as he walked down the battle platform, returning to his seat at the Immortal Banquet. The Idle Cloud Immortal King nodded to Qin Wentian as he smiled, not bad. You flatter me, senior. Qin Wentian nodded to the Idle Cloud Immortal King. As for the experts from the peak powers of the Cloud Prefecture, they all shifted their gazes away, not bothering to look at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian couldn't be bothered with them. This Su Feng is a bit difficult to deal with. The light attack he shot out from the back is very powerful. He has cultivated it to the level of returning to the natural state, fusing all kinds of powers into one. If you clash with him, you must be careful. Qin Wentian reminded Zi Qingxian who was beside him. Zi Qingxian nodded her head lightly, 10,000 manifestation slaughter. Even the Immortal King of the Thunder Prefecture was very satisfied with this strike, thinking that he would be able to defeat you. Who would have thought that your attack would be even more tyrannical? Su Feng didn't leave the platform and has already started to challenge 5th level ascendants. He wants to use all of you to prove himself, fighting for a slot for himself. You mustn't lose to him no matter what. If not, it would be extremely difficult for you to obtain a slot. Qin Wentian solemnly instructed. The 3 of them accepted the test from the Heavenly Talisman realm because they wanted to be part of the top 3. Even if they couldn't pass the test in the end, they mustn't be too bad. Since Bai Wuya personally came here to spectate, there was no way they could hide their results from the Heavenly Talisman realm. After Su Feng was defeated, he didn't leave the battle platform. He started to walk the same path as Qin Wentian, challenging 5th level ascendants one by one. Also, Su Feng truly lived up to his reputation as the #1 genius of the Thunder Prefecture. Although he was defeated by Qin Wentian, it was clear that he was in a superior position when fighting against the other geniuses. Even if he didn't unleash the 10,000 manifestation slaughter, he would still be invincible. The terrifying storm constellation gushed forth, in addition to the spatial transference, there was no one who could match up to him in terms of movement speed. In addition to the fact that their attack power was inferior to Su Feng's, there was no way for them to fight. Based on his overwhelming strength, Su Feng was also invincible. Finally, his gaze turned over, staring at Qin Wentian as well as Zi Qingxian who was beside him. Against Qin Wentian, he had already been defeated. Next, he had to defeat Zi Qingxian no matter what. If he defeated her, his chances of passing would be extremely high. But if he lost, it would be extremely dangerous for him. You, come out and fight. Su Feng stared at Zi Qingxian as he spoke. Zi Qingxian stood up, exuding a valiant aura. Her silhouette flickered, like a falcon, instantly appearing on the battle platform. Boom! Her constellation was instantly unleashed. Zi Qingshuan's entire body was bathed in golden flames as an incomparably gigantic divine falcon appeared in the air. Her entire body shimmered with the light of a divine falcon, resembling a true golden flame divine falcon. Even her eyes flickered with a terrifying penetrative power, as though wanting to burn Su Feng's eyes away. Bang! Su Feng's silhouette directly vanished. And at the same instant, Zi Qingshuan's silhouette also vanished. She was like a divine falcon, soaring up into the air. Below her, a thunderous boom rang out as the entire space trembled. Su Feng's attack landed on empty air, but he didn't even pause. With a single step, he vanished from sight. Zi Qingshuan's eyes blazed with golden flames. It was as though nothing in the surroundings could evade her terrifying gaze. The gigantic golden flame divine falcon abruptly closed its wings, enveloping the entire space. She punched out with both her fists as numerous silhouettes screeched, shooting out in all directions, leaving no blind spots. I can't see anything anymore. The brows of the spectators twitched. Zi Qingshuan's constellation closed as a gigantic golden silhouette locked down the entire space. Undoubtedly, this would greatly restrict Su Feng's spatial energy. The eyes of those immortal kings all gleamed with a terrifying immortal light. Their eyes transformed into immortal eyes that could see through everything, directly seeing the battle happening within the space enveloped by her constellation. Only to see that Su Feng and Zi Qingxian were actually clashing head-on, their battle incomparably violent. Every strike of Su Feng's seemed capable of lacerating everything, while Zi Qingshuan's attacks transformed into the golden flame divine falcon, indomitable and indestructible. Using offense against offense, the violent currents of qi swept up the entire space, containing a terrifying destructive might. This female is so powerful. Someone discovered something strange as a look of admiration flashed in his eyes. Golden runic inscriptions appeared on the wings of the terrifying golden flame divine falcon. These runic inscriptions were all terrifying divine inscriptions that radiated with incomparable heat, causing the temperature of the space to rise madly. It was as though the entire space had turned into a golden color as golden flames could be seen burning within. And at the same time, Zi Qingshuan's body also ignited with that golden flame. This is the power of her bloodline. The more she fights, the stronger she gets. Su Feng has to change. As expected, Su Feng's combat style started to change. He unleashed the 10,000 mammoth slaughter, moving unceasingly within the space enveloped by the golden flames. Every strike of his was exquisite to the extreme, and Zi Qingshuan's attacks seemed to be on the verge of collapsing. Despite the might of her bloodline and the golden flames, as long as Su Feng used the 10,000 mammoth slaughter to kill her, everything would be nothing but an illusion. Very swiftly, the might of the 10,000 mammoth slaughter trapped Zi Qingxian in an even tighter space. It was like a net of killing intent. How fascinating! Some immortal kings couldn't help but to praise. The battle between the younger generations of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures was truly fascinating and rare to see. Among these people, there were many who were worthy of being their personal disciples. Indeed, even I want to ask His Majesty for a personal disciple. Upon hearing the words of these immortal kings, the spectators were all shocked. Seems like the reason why the top 20 and top 10 were chosen was because other than the top 3 who would become Sage Child, the other participants might also have good fortune and be accepted as a personal disciple by a powerful immortal king of the Dongshengshan Gate. Among the 160 core disciples, their fates would be as different as the heavens and the earth depending on their talent. There were Sage Child characters who were disciples of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor, personal disciples of immortal kings, and ordinary core disciples. If this little doll can defend against this attack, she would be able to ascend to the next level. An immortal king spoke. Su Feng's eyes flickered with an intense killing intent, but Zi Qingxian still didn't admit defeat. The runic inscriptions on her constellation gushed towards her as the golden flames around her grew even more intense. It was as though a divine falcon was protecting her. Her entire person seemed to have transformed into a true divine falcon of combat. Kill! Su Feng roared. The true killing move of the 10,000 manifestation/erupted forth, killing everything in its path. That entire space was about to be shredded into countless fragments by the beams of killing intent. However, a divine falcon seemed to be born from the flames as it soared through the air, letting out a terrifying screech as boundless killing intent gushed forth, causing the divine falcon to let out a shrill cry. Bloodline protection. An immortal king sighed in admiration. That golden flame divine hawk finally broke free from the 10,000 manifestation slaughter, rushing towards Su Feng. After that, an incomparably resplendent beam of light flashed, tearing apart the protective barrier of light. The intense light seemed to be able to bury the two of them within. When everything dissipated, Zi Qingxian stood there on the battle platform. Her entire body was extremely weak as the light radiating from her vanished. Her chest was heaving up and down uncontrollably. On Su Feng's body, fresh blood flowed unceasingly. His countenance was as pale as paper. For ordinary celestial phenomenon ascendants, they didn't even know what happened at the end of that battle. But after that, they saw a trace of disappointment in Su Feng's eyes as he walked down the platform. He was like a hero past his prime, exuding boundless sorrow. He was already very strong, but he was still defeated in the end. Who? The idol cloud immortal king drew in a deep breath. There were three supreme geniuses. Qin Wentian, Zi Qingxian and Jun Mengchen. His cloud prefecture still had Gu Zhantian and the others. Out of the 20 spots, his cloud prefecture would be able to secure 4 spots. This was an incredible achievement. This female is truly not bad. Her bloodline is extremely strong and she has a violet gold astral soul. That Su Feng was defeated. What a pity. It's not that he isn't strong, it's just that his opponent is stronger. Qin Wentian and Zi Qingxian have such a close relationship. Could they be lovers? If that's the case, they are truly a match made in heaven, an immortal couple. Ha ha ha. An immortal king laughed. Zi Qingxian, who was on the battle platform, had a strange expression on her face when she heard this as her heart trembled. But very swiftly, she regained her composure. She turned and started walking the same path as Qin Wentian and Su Feng, challenging them one by one. She was still undefeatable, and the silhouette of that peerless beauty was imprinted in the minds of the experts. Chapter 858. This series of battles was different from the earlier ones. Before this, it was a chaotic battle where cultivators of different cultivation bases jumped around and fought against each other. Only this period of time was an internal battle between 5th-level ascendants. Qin Wentian stirred up a storm. After that, Su Feng domineeringly wanted to clear his name. And finally, the supreme female heaven-chosen, Zi Qingxian, appeared. In this level, only Qin Wentian and herself, Zi Qingxian, had complete victories, not losing a single battle. Because, Qin Wentian and Zi Qingxian didn't clash against each other. Their relationship seemed to be very good, and just like what the immortal king said, they might even be a couple. Qin Wentian and Zi Qingxian shouldn't have any problems, and Su Feng still had a sliver of hope. The rest would have to depend on the performances of the other ascendants. And as for those at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon, other than these 3, none of the 5th level ascendants would be able to enter the top 20. They were already destined to become ordinary core disciples, losing the chance to contend for the position of sage child. Similarly, if they didn't even manage to enter the top 20, those lofty immortal kings wouldn't attach any importance to them. If the supreme immortal kings of the Dongshengshan Gate wanted to choose their disciples, they would choose from the top 20 or even the top 10. After Zi Qingshuan's battle ended, she returned to her seat. The gazes of many turned in her direction, and upon seeing her sitting beside Qin Wentian, an expert couldn't help but to laugh. They are truly a good match. In fact, the idle-cloud Immortal King turned his head and glanced at Zi Qingxian and Qin Wentian as a meaningful smile appeared on his face. You guys have to do well. Haha. Zi Qingxian blushed a rare shade of red. Her usual cold demeanor seemed to have vanished. Her now was even more stunning. Qin Wentian also had an awkward smile on his face. In truth, he didn't interact much with Zi Qingxian, let alone talk about romance. He didn't have such thoughts at all. Regardless of ordinary people or the powerful Wuxia, they were all gossips. Don't mind it. Qin Wentian smiled when he saw how embarrassed Zi Qingxian was. Zi Qingxian inclined her head and glanced at Qin Wentian. His eyes were clear and his handsome countenance was adorned with a light smile, radiating a radiance. This man was truly a rare find, but he didn't seem to have any romantic intentions. No, they are only joking. Zi Qingxian spoke in a low voice before shifting her gaze away. Even a joke can come true. Jun Mingchen, who was at the side, started laughing. Qin Wentian glanced over and glared fiercely at him. Jun Mingchen made a face but obediently shut his mouth. Next, more and more experts ascended the platform. There were experts from various cultivation bases, and there were many with outstanding performances. However, Qin Wentian discovered that the higher one's cultivation base was, the easier it was for them to have a dazzling performance, causing others to feel that they were extraordinary. This should be related to the cultivation of stellar martial cultivators. When one first stepped into celestial phenomenon, they weren't proficient in their cultivation and didn't have many cultivation techniques. If one's strength wasn't strong enough, the effect they could create would be much weaker. Although they were all supreme geniuses, the disparity between them wouldn't be as obvious as those with a higher cultivation base. Cultivation was like this. The higher the level, the more techniques one could use. Everyone's comprehensions were different and the disparity between the strong and the weak was extremely great. The disparity between geniuses would only grow clearer and clearer. Hence, not only for Qin Wentian, even those immortal kings could sense it. Their hearts were as clear as a mirror. For the top 3 rankers of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures, the vast majority of them were at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon and above. This also meant that for the final 20 rankers, although there would be 2 for each level of cultivation, there would be more people with higher cultivation bases. And Qin Wentian and Zi Qingxian had both defeated the top ranker of the Thunder Prefecture when they were at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon. Hence, there shouldn't be too much suspense for them to pass. Senior brother, what do you think the rewards for the top 3 rankers would be? During the Immortal Banquet, Jun Mingchen and Qin Wentian chatted. I'm not sure. But at the very least, it should be a treasure at the Immortal Foundation level or above. If not, I wouldn't have been able to show my face. Qin Wentian laughed as he sipped his wine. The Dongshengshan Gate is the leader of the 13 prefectures. This is a grand banquet that happens once every 100 years and the delicacies here are all immortal grade. The rewards for the top 3 rankers would surely be extremely exciting. Senior brother, we must definitely do our best to obtain them. Senior sister Qingxian as well, let's do our best to walk all the way to the end. Jun Mingchen was very optimistic. When he fought, he was incomparably ferocious. But in private, when he interacted with Qin Wentian and Zi Qingxian, he was like a big boy, pure and clean, without any schemes. Are you so confident? Qin Wentian laughed when he saw how optimistic Jun Mingchen was. Naturally. Senior brother, up until now, there hasn't been anyone who could force me to unleash my full strength in combat. I believe you are the same as well. Both of us must definitely enter the top 3 rankers. Jun Mingchen was brimming with confidence. However, he only heard a cold snort. How arrogant, not knowing the immensity of the heavens and earth. Gusu Tianqi, Feather King, Sangyeo and the others, which of them are weaker compared to you? Just your cultivation bases alone are nothing in front of them. The person who spoke was none other than Zuyu from the Battle Heaven's Immortal Manor. He was sitting together with Gu Zhantian. "We are talking, what has it got to do with you? Stop talking nonsense." Jun Mengchen impolitely replied. "Even as the top ranker of the Cloud Prefecture, Gu Zhantian isn't as arrogant as you guys. Just because there are a few battles left, you already have no one in your eyes. How ridiculous." Zuyu continued to mock. "Maybe in the end, you might even die on the battle platform." Qin Wentian turned his gaze over, coldly staring at Zuyu. His gaze was as sharp as swords. Jun Mengchen and him were fellow apprentices and were just casually chatting, yet this Zuyu actually dared to curse him. "I really want to see how far you can go." Qin Wentian coldly spoke. "I also want to see how far you guys can go." Gu Zhantian interjected as he turned his gaze over. "Before this on the battle platform, I didn't manage to kill you. What a pity. Now that our cultivation bases are different, we have no way to act against you. If not, we would definitely look for you to settle the score. How can we allow you to be so arrogant? Since he has achieved so much, let him be complacent for now." At the side, an Immortal Foundation expert from a major power of the Cloud Prefecture mocked. He was someone from the Battle Heaven's Immortal Manor. "You guys." Jun Mengchen's anger flared up as his aura gushed forth. "Mengchen, forget it. What's the point of arguing? They will naturally see the ending." Qin Wentian consoled when he saw Jun Mengchen's temper flared up. Only then did Jun Mengchen snort coldly. Seeing that there was no one else on the battle platform right now, his silhouette flickered as he transformed into a beam of light, directly landing on the platform. "Who wants to fight me?" Jun Mengchen roared. The medallion on his chest stated that he was ranked number 2 of the Cloud Prefecture. It could still be considered as a threat. Only to see the silhouette of a genius walking out. This was none other than the number 6 ranker of the Underworld Prefecture. This person exuded a terrifying aura of coldness as he stared at Jun Mengchen, number 2 of the Cloud Prefecture. "I wonder if you are worthy of your title. You will soon be able to see for yourself." Jun Mengchen roared. A towering battle might gushed forth as boundless tempests gushed forth. His entire body was clad in a layer of king armor, resembling a supreme king. A terrifying shadow appeared behind him as Jun Mengchen stepped out. With every step he took, the king chi he exuded grew stronger. "Fight!" Jun Mengchen roared in rage. Instantly, a destructive storm manifested. The spectators only saw that this entire space was on the verge of collapsing. With a single roar, there seemed to be demonic beasts rampaging about, war chariots traversing the skies, and millions of soldiers fighting for him. Jun Mengchen was like a king, able to summon countless warriors. "What combat immortal art is this?" An immortal king asked in a low voice. Such an immortal art was extremely rare. "He seems to be an innate war king, every single move he makes is extraordinary." Someone replied. The immortals all turned serious as they watched Jun Mengchen's battle. Only to see Jun Mengchen roaring unceasingly. His opponent was also an extraordinary genius, but he was actually suppressed so tightly. Finally, countless war chariots blasted over, blasting him off the platform. Jun Mengchen completely defeated his opponent. "Who else wants to challenge me?" Jun Mengchen stood on the platform. He was clad in armor, exuding an incomparably resplendent light. His eyes swept over the geniuses of the Cloud Prefecture, as though he was in a fit of pique. He, his senior brother Qin Wentian and his senior sister Zi Qingxian, even if they couldn't all enter the top 3, they had to at least enter the top 10. This was the lowest requirement. Jun Mengchen still wants to continue fighting. Before this, many people were defeated after a single battle. But now, all of them are fighting one after another. There were several extraordinary geniuses at the 4th level of celestial phenomenon who stepped onto the platform. Their battle chi towered up into the sky as they fought against Jun Mengchen. However, under Jun Mengchen's king aura, there was actually no one who could defeat him. The delicate and handsome Jun Mengchen could only be described with a single word when he fought, berserk. At this moment, on the towering platform of the immortal banquet, the deep flame immortal king glanced in a certain direction. In that direction, there was an immortal king clad in black with pitch-black eyes. His status was the same as the deep flame immortal king, and beside him, there was a young man who was currently walking out. Qin Wentian noticed this scene as he furrowed his brows. Was it another personal disciple of an immortal king? This young man was extremely low profile when he appeared. Jun Mengchen was still fighting and no one noticed him. Very swiftly, after Jun Mengchen defeated another opponent, this young man walked up the platform. This young man is somewhat dangerous. Qin Wentian stared at Gu Zhantian. Mengchen's combat prowess was extraordinary. Even if this young man was a demon-level genius, he should be able to fight against him. In addition, Mengchen himself said that he hasn't used his full strength yet. However, at this moment, a few immortal kings around the black-robed old man cast a deep glance at the black-robed old man and the deep flame immortal king before narrowing their eyes and staring at Jun Mengchen. This little fellow was most probably going to be in trouble. Jun Mengchen didn't show any politeness when he saw this person. He howled and punched out with both his fists, yet that person merely waved his hands as a fearsome blood sea of divine energy devoured his attacks. Jun Mengchen's countenance flickered. He knew that he had encountered an extraordinary genius. Stepping out, his fists radiated an incomparably violent might as he directly punched out towards that young man. Bang! Jun Mengchen's fists directly slammed into his opponent's body. In just an instant, a river of blood flowed from that young man's body, directly staining Jun Mengchen's armor. At the same time, another true body gradually materialized beside that young man. A blood clone. Jun Mengchen is in for it. That clone is filled with blood poison. Some immortal kings couldn't bear to watch this scene. And as expected, at this moment, Jun Mengchen's countenance drastically changed. A terrifying poison qi instantly seeped into his body, causing his countenance to turn black. Even his armor turned black. Chapter 859. Poison. Upon seeing this scene, the countenances of the spectators all turned ashen. Jun Mengchen's entire body turned black, and the body he pierced through transformed into a pool of poisonous blood. How could the spectators not understand what was going on? And at the same time, the young man beside Jun Mengchen blasted out another palm strike. A black-colored palm imprint directly slammed into Jun Mengchen, causing Jun Mengchen's body to be flung through the air. At the same time, the blood poison rapidly invaded his body. Everything happened in the time it takes for a spark to fly off a flint, so fast that the spectators didn't even have time to think. Boom! In the direction of the Cloud Prefecture's camp, Qin Wentian and Zi Qingxian abruptly stood up as an intense coldness radiated from them. Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with sharpness as his killing intent flickered. Deep Flame Immortal King. Qin Wentian saw the blood poison in Jun Mengchen's body and instantly understood why the Deep Flame Immortal King wanted this young man to act. This young man was proficient in the art of poison and his blood poison was so powerful that it was basically impossible to defend against it. He was able to form a blood poison clone, and if one didn't know his opponent's strength, they would definitely be poisoned the moment they struck him. The Deep Flame Immortal King wanted this young man to fight because he wanted to take Jun Mengchen's life. This was no longer merely wanting to defeat Jun Mengchen. What made Qin Wentian even angrier was that the person the Deep Flame Immortal King disliked was none other than him, Qin Wentian. Before this, Jun Mengchen had mocked the Deep Flame Immortal King, causing the Deep Flame Immortal King to harbor a grudge in his heart. Hence, during Jun Mengchen's consecutive battles, the Deep Flame Immortal King invited a supreme character of the same generation to act against him. Mengchen, I admit defeat. Qin Wentian roared. At this moment, Jun Mengchen crawled up from the ground and sat there. The blood in his body felt as though it was about to congeal and his internal organs were rotting away. His body was completely empty, he had no way to circulate any energy at all. No. A terrifying light flashed in Jun Mengchen's eyes. It was a kind of obsession as he stared at the young man walking towards him. This young man's entire body glowed with a blood-colored light. Lifting his pitch-black palms, a terrifying destructive might manifested as he walked step by step towards Jun Mengchen, who was seated beside Gu Zhantian. "Mengchen, you might still have a chance if you give up this battle." Qin Wentian roared. Under the circumstances where Jun Mengchen was poisoned, how could he continue to fight? That young man would surely kill him ruthlessly. Never. Jun Mengchen's eyes were filled with madness. Seems like my words have come true. He's really going to die on the platform. Zuyu from the Battle Heaven's immortal manner coldly laughed. This voice instantly angered Qin Wentian. He turned his gaze and glared at Zhou Yu. He saw that Zhou Yu was gloating at Jun Mengchen's misfortune, as if he wanted nothing more than to see Jun Mengchen die immediately. "What did you say?" Qin Wentian stepped out, causing a deafening boom to ring out as several tables directly exploded. Zhou Yu stood up and coldly stared at Qin Wentian. He was at the 8th level of celestial phenomenon, how could he fear Qin Wentian? He, you still don't allow him to speak. In this battle, there's a high possibility that he will die. You might not be able to survive as well. You don't know what's good for you, arrogant and conceited. Even at this moment, you still don't know how to admit defeat. Gu Zhantian sat there, drinking his wine as a cold voice rang out. Terrifying rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly. Not only for Qin Wentian, Zi Qingxian and Mu Yan were all enraged as well. For a period of time, the atmosphere in the Cloud Prefecture instantly turned chaotic. Impudent. A thunderous voice thundered out, akin to a thunderbolt from the clear skies, reverberating through Qin Wentian's mind. He only felt his entire body trembling, Zi Qingxian and Mu Yan trembled as well. After which, the Deep Flame Immortal King coldly spoke, "This place is the immortal banquet of the Dongshengshan Gate. How dare you all be so impudent? Do you still have the Dongshengshan Gate in your eyes? Are you courting death?" Qin Wentian's heart was as cold as ice. He glanced at the Deep Flame Immortal King before turning his gaze back to Gu Zhantian. Right now, the person he was most worried about was Jun Mengchen. "Senior brother, there's no need to care about me." Jun Mengchen even cast a glance at Qin Wentian. A terrifying holy light radiated from him as a fearsome war god manifested behind him, resembling a protector god. Jun Mengchen's body leaned against this war god as he sat there with his eyes closed. That young man who used poison walked to a location not far away from Jun Mengchen. He glanced at the holy light radiating from Jun Mengchen before rushing out like a gust of wind. His destructive blood-poisoned palm imprints blasted towards Jun Mengchen's head, only to see the war god howling in rage as a violent chi flow manifested in the air. Instantly, the space the young man was in was filled with a destructive energy. Puchi. That young man was directly torn apart, transforming into a beam of blood light. Numerous clones appeared beside him, it was impossible to tell which one was the true body. It was extremely bizarre. These clones all moved towards Jun Mengchen at the same time. Everyone could feel that Jun Mengchen was finished. In fact, the hearts of the spectators were all clenching tightly as though they were extremely nervous about this battle. If Jun Mengchen died here, it would truly be too much of a pity. A young man with such outstanding talent should have already advanced to the next round, yet he was going to die to the blood poison. Qin Wentian and Zi Qingxian were the most nervous. Their gazes were fixated on Gu Zhantian. The young man who was still laughing and chatting with them earlier was now poisoned in the blink of an eye. Such a disparity caused Qin Wentian to feel extremely uncomfortable in his heart. This junior apprentice brother of his must definitely be fine. Zuyu and Gu Zhantian had cold smiles on their faces, as though they wanted nothing more than for Jun Mengchen to die here on the battle platform. The numerous clones of the young man who used poison got closer and closer. He was different from the other geniuses, moving stealthily and silently, like a shadow in the darkness. However, everyone had already seen how dangerous he was. With just a single strike from him, Jun Mengchen was already poisoned and almost died. Not only that, it was Jun Mengchen who initiated the attack. Such a character was someone nobody would be willing to antagonize. As expected of a character taught by a supreme immortal king. His master, that black-robed immortal king, should be one of the powerful generals under the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor, the absolute poison immortal king. His attacks couldn't be considered very strong among the immortal kings, but he was definitely one of the most dangerous characters. His poison wasn't something his disciple could compare to. Even immortal kings feared him like snakes and scorpions. Nobody was willing to antagonize him. Did the Deep Flame Immortal King send you here to kill me? Only to see Jun Mengchen staring at the numerous silhouettes before him as he casually spoke out the name of the Deep Flame Immortal King. Jun Mengchen's personality was just like this. He treated people with sincerity and straightforwardness, but when it came to combat, he would only be filled with madness. He had no fear and would say whatever he wanted to say. Even though he was poisoned, he was still as arrogant as ever. As expected, the Deep Flame Immortal King furrowed his brows when he heard Jun Mengchen's words. This fellow was truly courting death. Even at this moment, he still didn't know how to behave. In that case, just die. Coldly snorting in his heart, the Deep Flame Immortal King had no expression on his face. He wanted to let him know that the arrogance of a young man, not knowing when to retreat, sometimes, he would have to pay the price with his life. After all, this world was ultimately a world of the strong, hot-bloodedness wasn't sufficient. He wanted to make Qin Wentian pay the price for his actions. First, he wanted to let him know what the situation was, and what political tactics were. Sometimes, talent couldn't represent everything. Do you think you can kill me? How pitiful. You are such an expert in poison, yet you are going to die here. Given their vast horizons, they had never seen such a scene before. They had no way to ascertain what it was. Chapter 860. Qin Wentian heaved a sigh of relief when he saw this scene. This fellow was truly too crazy. That power earlier was truly terrifying. Qin Wentian could faintly sense that Jun Mengchen seemed to have borrowed the power of an ancient source of energy. That punch he blasted out contained a heaven-shaking might, killing the disciple of the absolute poison immortal king in a single strike. Jun Mengchen didn't even have the time to summon his blood clone. The aura of the absolute poison immortal king fluctuated as a fearsome pressure gushed forth. His disciple was actually killed on the battle platform. Sweeping his gaze over, the absolute poison immortal king turned to Deep Flame. At this moment, Deep Flame's expression was similarly unsightly to behold. This battle was instigated by him. He sent a message to the absolute poison immortal king, telling his disciple to deal with Jun Mengchen. But now, his disciple died because of this, and it was under such circumstances. Even if the absolute poison immortal king wanted to protect his disciple, he couldn't blame Jun Mengchen. Everyone could see that the disciple of the absolute poison immortal king wanted Jun Mengchen's life, wanting to kill Jun Mengchen with poison. Jun Mengchen didn't break the rules. This immortal banquet was held for the sake of the Dongxing Heaven Emperor, a grand occasion of the Dongxingshan Gate. Even if he, the absolute poison immortal king, was a war general under the Dongxing Heaven Emperor, how could he kill a genius with outstanding talent just because he wanted to protect his disciple? Both sides are dead. You are truly a life and death struggle. No one will cure you of this poison. Although it was impossible for the absolute poison immortal king to act against Jun Mengchen, he wouldn't allow anyone to cure Jun Mengchen. His voice was cold and as expected, a strange light flashed in the eyes of some powerful immortal kings, they instantly understood what was going on. Although the poison of the absolute poison immortal king's disciple was powerful, there were so many supreme immortal kings here. It wasn't a difficult matter to cure the poison. However, the words of the absolute poison immortal king meant that whoever cured Jun Mengchen of the poison would undoubtedly offend him. Jun Mengchen was still sitting on the battle platform. The experts at the immortal banquet were as many as the clouds, yet no one was willing to lend a helping hand to him. This heaven-defying heaven chosen was now in such a miserable state. If there's no one to cure him, he still has to die. Zuyu from the battle heaven's immortal manor coldly spoke. He's just courting death. Gu Zhantai continued. They were already extremely unhappy with how Jun Mengchen managed to turn defeat into victory. But luckily, Jun Mengchen himself had no way to survive, he would die to the blood poison. Even if you die, nothing will happen to Jun Mengchen. Qin Wentian's eyes were cold as he stared at the lonely silhouette of Jun Mengchen. He and Zi Qinxian slowly walked out, moving towards the battle platform. Jun Mengchen smiled at the two of them. Although his countenance was black, he still had a smile on his face. At least you didn't lose face. Even if you walk down the battle platform, you have to walk down in a dignified manner. As he spoke, Jun Mengchen struggled to stand up as he let out a low roar. Step by step, he slowly walked down the battle platform, arriving beside Qin Wentian. His handsome eyes were still gleaming with a radiant light. After that, he closed his eyes and collapsed onto Qin Wentian. Although Jun Mengchen had a heaven-defying physique, his body was still made of flesh and blood after all. His king's qi wasn't invulnerable to all poisons. The blood poison in the body of the absolute poison immortal king was undoubtedly fatal to those at the same cultivation level. Jun Mengchen was able to persist until he killed his opponent and even walked down the battle platform in a dignified manner. This already caused the hearts of everyone to tremble. Although this young man was young and had the hot-bloodedness of youth, his state of heart as well as his strong willpower were all priceless. Naturally, what made people pay attention to him the most was his supreme combat talent as well as his unique physique. Being able to turn the tables under such circumstances and kill the personal disciple of the absolute poison immortal king, this was definitely a heaven-defying talent. Jun Mengchen had an extraordinary relationship with Qin Wentian. If this person didn't die, he would definitely be the same as Qin Wentian, ranked within the top 10. Qin Wentian carried Jun Mengchen's body as he walked back step by step. His steps were resolute as his countenance was cold. Inclining his head, Qin Wentian stared at the absolute poison immortal king, as well as the deep flame immortal king. He, Qin Wentian, had experienced countless storms before. How could he not understand the meaning behind the words of the absolute poison immortal king? This supreme immortal king had already promised the deep flame immortal king that his disciple would come here to take Jun Mengchen's life. Now that his disciple was killed by Jun Mengchen, he was filled with resentment, but he didn't care about the cause and effect. Humans are like this, they would only consider things from their own perspective, why would they care about others? In the eyes of this absolute poison immortal king, Jun Mengchen's life couldn't even be compared to a single sentence from the deep flame immortal king. Senior worries too much. It's just a mere blood poison. Qin wouldn't bother others to cure it. I also wouldn't bother Senior. Since my junior apprentice brother could easily kill that person, I can easily cure this poison as well. Qin Wentian stared at the absolute poison immortal king as he emotionlessly spoke, his arrogance towering up into the sky. This was especially so for the second half of his sentence, it was undoubtedly filled with contempt for the absolute poison immortal king. We are fellow apprentice brothers, my junior apprentice brother can kill your disciple and I can cure your disciple's poison. These words of his didn't give any face to the absolute poison immortal king at all, as though it was directed at the words of the absolute poison immortal king earlier. These two are as expected of fellow apprentice brothers, truly unbridled and arrogant, daring to talk back to anyone. Everyone stared at Qin Wentian. This young man's personality was somewhat similar to Jun Mengchen's. They were both stubborn and didn't know what compromise was. His heart was filled with the hot-bloodedness of youth, incomparably frivolous. Regardless of the situation, regardless of the target, he would do things according to his heart. The aura of the absolute poison immortal king gushed forth, exuding a terrifying pressure that enveloped Qin Wentian. His eyes were pitch black, incomparably cold, causing Qin Wentian to halt his steps. This was because the absolute poison immortal king's aura was simply too overwhelming. "Senior, what are you doing?" Senior is a supreme immortal king of the Dongshengshan Gate. As long as the Dongshengshan Gate says a single word, all of us can voluntarily withdraw and leave this place. Qin Wentian countered with cold arrogance. The absolute poison immortal king retracted his aura and spoke, boasting shamelessly. "I truly want to see how you are going to cure this poison. There's no need for Senior to worry about this." Qin Wentian's expression was as cold as ever. He carried Jun Mengchen back to his seat while Zi Qingxian followed beside him. Many people turned their gazes to Qin Wentian. Even for Princess Liuli, who was beside Dong Xingting, her beautiful eyes were also staring at Qin Wentian and Jun Mengchen. These two young geniuses gave her an extraordinary feeling. The battles on the battle platform will continue. Everyone, don't be distracted. Let's continue. Dong Xingting involuntarily spoke when he saw that after Jun Mengchen walked down the platform, there was actually no one else who went up. Only now did everyone come to their senses. More and more experts went up the platform and started another round of intense battles. In the earlier battles, there were already too many powerful geniuses who appeared. Because the geniuses who went up the platform were all fighting with their full strength, they knew very well that only 20 people would be able to pass this round. It was exceedingly difficult to obtain a single slot. At the very least, one had to have a glorious battle record in their cultivation base and must not lose twice, or it would be extremely dangerous for them. Chapter 861. The battles on the platform continued. In the Immortal Banquet, the Immortal Kings chatted freely, occasionally commenting on the geniuses. The beautiful myriad incarnations Immortal King was extremely quiet. She spoke to Hua Taishu, who was seated beside her. In the battle back then, Qin Wentian displayed his brilliance. You should be more familiar with him. Now that so many years have passed, although your improvement is godly, his cultivation speed isn't inferior to yours. If you fought against him, how confident are you in winning? Hua Taishu's current cultivation base was actually the same as Qin Wentian, at the 5th level of celestial phenomenon. The myriad incarnations Immortal King knew very well what kind of price he had to pay to improve so quickly. In addition, she personally guided him. When she first met Qin Wentian and saw the ranking of the 27th rankers of the Cloud Prefecture, the myriad incarnations Immortal King also felt that Hua Taishu should have already left Qin Wentian in the dust. But who would have thought that the arrogant and unruly young man back then was now even more mature? No matter where he went, he would radiate an unparalleled sharpness. I have no idea. Hua Taishu turned his gaze onto Qin Wentian as he shook his head. To him now, his temperament had long changed. As he matured step by step, many things in the past were indifferent to him. However, in his heart, there was still a stubbornness he couldn't let go of. Truly fighting against Qin Wentian. He obtained the top ranker of the Heavenly Fate rankings. In the next selection round, Qin Wentian also obtained the same glory. In the Immortal Martial Realm, Qin Wentian caught up from behind and obtained the top ranker. Qin Wentian's performance was once again the most outstanding among the Eastern Sage Immortal Sect's disciples. You experienced 9 reincarnations in the samsara world and are one of the rarest geniuses who managed to walk out alive. Although you have cultivated for over 40 years, your mental age far surpasses your actual age. Other than this, you have also experienced many other tempering methods. Now, you actually don't have the confidence to defeat him. The myriad incarnations Immortal King laughed as she stared at Hua Taishu. Hua Taishu's countenance was as calm as ever. He had indeed experienced 9 reincarnations and his heart was incomparably tough. I've experienced all sorts of tempering, but so has he. Many times, we only see our own hard work, neglecting the progress and growth of others. Hua Taishu spoke in a low voice, in terms of innate talent, I'm inferior to him. Astral souls, bloodline limit, these are all innate talents that cannot be made up for. That's true. However, there's no need for you to undervalue yourself. Your comprehension abilities and cultivation speed are both extraordinary. Although great geniuses were born late, it doesn't mean that you can't catch up to the older generation. There are many ordinary characters who relied on their firm conviction and determination to cultivate to the Immortal King realm. Their combat prowess would naturally be even more terrifying. The myriad incarnations Immortal King spoke. As the two of them chatted, they didn't seem like master and disciple, but more like brother and sister. Finally, the smoke on the ancient battle platform dissipated. No one else continued to step onto that solemn ancient platform. Everyone had already experienced at least 10 battles. For those who felt that their performance wasn't strong enough, they chose to experience even more battles, wanting to stand out from the crowd. Dong Xingting sat on the highest seat. His gaze swept over the participants as he asked, "Is there anyone else who wishes to challenge me?" All the geniuses remained silent, and no one continued to fight. Sure. Dong Xingting saw that no one dared to challenge him. After which, he smiled and stared at the Immortal Kings as he spoke, "This battle has concluded. Many geniuses have extraordinary performances. Dong Xingting would like to invite all the seniors to select 20 participants to advance to the next round. For those who lost 3 battles, there's no need to consider them. For the top 20, they can at most have 2 defeats. What do all the seniors think?" "Your Highness is right." Seated beside Dong Xingting were a few supreme characters from the Dongshengshan Gate. All of them nodded their heads, there was no need to consider those who lost 3 battles. "In that case, I would like to invite Princess Lioli to announce the names for us. Princess Lioli will point out one person for all the elders to decide if this person has the qualifications to enter the top 20 or not. Does Princess Lioli agree?" Dong Xingting smiled. Many of the people here were supreme characters, they would naturally be able to tell if the performance of these people was outstanding or not. Out of these 20 participants, other than a few who might have some disputes, there were at least 10 or so who would be able to advance to the next round. Under such a solemn atmosphere, nobody would dare to lie. "Okay." Princess Lioli wasn't humble at all and directly nodded her head in agreement. Momentarily, some of the geniuses below felt nervous, but there were even more who felt disappointment. They were very clear of their own performance. Most probably, they wouldn't have a chance to advance to the next round. I will directly point out the names and let the elders decide. Princess Lioli stared at the geniuses of the Immortal Banquet. Her eyes landed on Gusu Tianqi as she spoke, top ranker of the Eastern Prefecture, Gusu Tianqi. After he was defeated in the first round, he won all his battles after that, and didn't exchange more than 3 moves. He should be able to advance to the next round, right? Gusu Tianqi will naturally advance. Gusu Tianqi, there's no suspense. Yes. The various Immortal Kings all expressed their opinions, none of them objected. Gusu Tianqi didn't have any objections and advanced to the top 20. Princess Lioli's gaze shifted, the hearts of the geniuses all seemed to move along with her. Top ranker of the Western Desert Prefecture, Feather King of the Winged Devil race. Princess Lioli's eyes landed on Feather King as she spoke. Yes. Agreed. The Immortal Kings all expressed their opinions. Without any suspense, Feather King passed, becoming the second person to advance to the next round. Princess Lioli's beautiful eyes continued to shift. After that, the crowd only saw her gaze landing in the direction of the Cloud Prefecture. The idle Cloud Immortal King was actually somewhat agitated. The Cloud Prefecture's performance this time around was extremely outstanding, something rarely seen in history. Second ranker of the Cloud Prefecture, Jun Mengchen, has no defeats. After being poisoned, he still managed to kill the disciple of the Absolute Poison Immortal King. Princess Lioli's voice was incomparably calm, her words causing the crowd to be astonished. The gazes of the crowd turned to her, before turning to the Absolute Poison Immortal King. This Princess Lioli truly didn't care about anything. The third person she pointed out was none other than Jun Mengchen, and she even claimed that Jun Mengchen killed the disciple of the Absolute Poison Immortal King. Agreed. A Supreme Immortal King from the Dongshengshan Gate was the first to nod. Yes. Another person replied, not caring about the thoughts of the Absolute Poison Immortal King. After all, they had to be responsible for the Dongxing Heaven Emperor. Jun Mengchen was truly outstanding. If he could really enter the top 3, he would become a sage child. Even if he offended an immortal king, the immortal king wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Other than a few who had a good relationship with Absolute Poison Immortal King, the others all agreed. Dongxing Ting then announced, no objections. Yes. Princess Lioli's gaze didn't move. She stared at Qin Wentian, who was beside Jun Mengchen as she spoke. Qin Wentian, 27th ranker of the Cloud Prefecture, undefeated record. The atmosphere turned silent for a moment. After that, an immortal king from the Dongshengshan Gate spoke, yes. Everyone expressed their opinions one after another, no one objected. The Deep Flame Immortal King still maintained his silence. Qin Wentian, passed. Zi Qingxian, undefeated record. Princess Lioli spoke again. Once again, no one objected. Zi Qingxian, passed. Staring at the three of them who seemed to be fellow apprentice brother and sister, many people couldn't help but feel bewildered. These three outstanding characters, which power nurtured them from? Why was it that no one knew about it? Even their sect wasn't present at the scene. Other than the Dongshengshan Gate, which other power would be so powerful as to nurture three such demon-level geniuses? Could it be that it wasn't a sect but was a supreme expert instead? This might be possible. Top ranker of the Cloud Prefecture, Gu Zhantian, undefeated record. Princess Lioli continued. No one objected, Gu Zhantian passed. Top ranker of the Qian Prefecture, Yi Qianchen. Top ranker of the Li Prefecture, Zhang Ao. Top ranker of the Blazing Sun Prefecture, Dugu Shishan. Top ranker of the Supreme Moon Prefecture, Mo1. Top ranker of the Underworld Prefecture, Black Peak. Princess Lioli called out names one by one. None of these people objected and all of them passed. In the blink of an eye, Princess Lioli had already called out 11 names. Next, there were only 9 names remaining. Naturally, these 11 names that Princess Lioli called out were all the more outstanding ones. The majority of the top 10 would probably be from these 11. Second ranker of the Eastern Prefecture, Xia Jiufeng. Princess Lioli called out another name. The immortal kings glanced at the participants and all expressed their approval. Given Xia Jiufeng's talent, there was no way he would pass on this position. Second ranker of the Western Desert Prefecture, Qin Ta, a heaven chosen from the heavenly god race. Princess Lioli spoke. The immortal kings all expressed their approval. The second ranker of the Western Desert Prefecture, Qin Ta, passed. Third ranker of the Western Desert Prefecture, Sorrowless. Princess Lioli spoke again. The gazes of many turned to the monk in tattered robes. Those immortal kings all expressed their approval once again. The Western Desert Prefecture is so strong. The Cloud Prefecture is also extremely strong. This batch of participants is truly unexpected. Everyone saw Princess Lioli calling out names one by one. Only now did they notice that the weaker Cloud Prefecture had an outstanding performance this time around. The top 3 rankers of the Western Desert Prefecture all passed. Top ranker of the Mo Prefecture, Yen Zimo. Top ranker of the Rock Prefecture, Ba Shan. Top ranker of the Yu Prefecture, Gu Hong. Princess Lioli called out another 3 names. There were no objections. Although the top rankers of the 3 prefectures weren't as dazzling as the geniuses of the other prefectures, there was no problem for them to pass. There are already 17 names. Out of the 13 prefectures, there are 10 top rankers of the 10 prefectures that have been chosen. There are still 3 other prefectures whose performances weren't outstanding enough. I'm afraid it's precisely because of this reason that Princess Lioli hasn't called out their names yet. There will definitely be disputes among them. The hearts of everyone mused. Top ranker of the Thunder Prefecture, Su Feng. Princess Lioli called out Su Feng's name, causing Su Feng's expression to stiffen. How laughable, he was at the same cultivation level as Qin Wentian and Zi Qingxian. He only called out his name now after suffering 2 defeats. Su Feng was defeated twice, isn't this a little inappropriate? An immortal king spoke, causing disputes to arise. Su Feng was defeated twice. Both his opponents were extremely strong. As for the final decision, I will leave it to the various seniors. Princess Lioli calmly spoke. The various immortal kings discussed, but when they stared at the participants, they finally decided to let Su Feng pass. There are still 2 more slots left. I'm in a difficult position. Princess Lioli smiled. For the others, there were disputes. None of them had the absolute qualifications to enter the top 20. Since Princess is in a difficult position, let me make a suggestion. Before this, I've already said that the personal disciples of the various immortal kings would be included in the top 20. Right now, the personal disciple of the Deep Flame Immortal King, Black Peak, has already entered the top 20. I suggest that the personal disciple of the Myriad Incarnations Immortal King, Hua Taishu, and the personal disciple of the undefeatable Devil King, Ruthless, be included in the top 20. In this way, there wouldn't be any disputes. How about it? Dong Xingting's eyes flickered with a dazzling light as he spoke. Upon hearing the 2 names he called out, the spectators were all taken aback. These were 2 extremely powerful demon-level geniuses. Given their fame, there wouldn't be any disputes if they were to enter. Chapter 862. Dong Xingting's voice caused the eyes of many geniuses to freeze as they felt a chill running down their spines. Among them, there were still many who were filled with anticipation, hoping that their names would appear in the top 20. The longer they waited, the more nervous they got. But at the very end, Dong Xingting actually asked Ruthless and Hua Taishu to make up for the positions of the top 20 geniuses. Among the 13 prefectures, only the top ranker of a prefecture didn't manage to make it into the top 20. The top rankers of the other 12 prefectures all advanced to the top 20. This undoubtedly proved the results of the selection process. However, for the second and third rankers of the various prefectures, only a few managed to make it into the top 20. This was extremely cruel. After all, only the top 20 were left. Many geniuses were blocked outside. Your Highness is right. Just like what Princess Lioli has thought, for the next few characters, no matter who is chosen, there would definitely be disputes. Since that's the case, I agree with Your Highness' suggestion, directly adding Ruthless and Hua Taishu into the top 20. An expert from the Dongshengshan Gate spoke. Sure, I have no objections. The Myriad Incarnations Immortal King had a smile on her face as she glanced at Hua Taishu who was beside her. I have no objections as well. The undefeatable Devil King was a devil cultivator. He sat at the seat of honor and rarely spoke. He was like a devil god, exuding a supreme pressure. His disciple Ruthless had a similar aura to him. If not, he wouldn't have accepted Ruthless as his personal disciple. Many supreme existences would choose disciples based on their preferences, choosing those that were suitable for them. How could the various immortal kings oppose Dongxingting on such a matter? Naturally, they all agreed unanimously. Dong Xingting smiled, since all the elders have no objections, it's decided then. For the top 20, we shall go according to Princess Liuli's suggestion of 18, in addition to Hua Taishu and Ruthless. Who? In the Cloud Prefecture's camp, Mu Yun let out a sigh. He initially thought that he would have a chance, but he didn't expect that his name wasn't even mentioned. Only disappointment remained in his heart. Gotcha. Zhou Yu of the Battle Heaven's immortal manner clenched his fists so tightly that crackling sounds could be heard. His combat prowess could also be considered extremely powerful, and his earlier performance was extremely outstanding. However, his name had never been mentioned before. In fact, he didn't even see Princess Liuli looking at him directly. It was as though she had never placed him in her sights. There were many who were as disappointed as Mu Yun and Zhou Yu. They all believed that they had a sliver of hope, but sadly, reality was cruel. Out of 160 participants, only 20 spots would appear. The geniuses from the 13 prefectures all fought for it, but in the end, 2 spots were replaced by Ruthless and Hua Taishu. This meant that the vast majority of geniuses were destined to be excluded. 3 from the Cloud State and 3 from the Western Desert State. Not bad. An immortal king spoke in a low voice, feeling a little rueful. In the entire Eastern Prefecture, there were only 2 such geniuses. The top ranker, Gusu Tianqi, and the second ranker, Xia Jiufeng. The top 3 rankers of the Western Desert Prefecture had all passed. As for the Cloud Prefecture, other than the top ranker, Gu Zhantian, the other 3 demon-level geniuses were all fellow apprentices and had an extremely good relationship with each other. They gave off a feeling that they had a common enemy and were willing to go through life and death together. Even when facing a character like the Deep Flame Immortal King, they wouldn't hold back at all. Seems like I won't be able to accompany you guys to the next level. Mu Yan, who was beside Qin Wentian, spoke. Ghost Saber Mu Yan's talent could also be considered outstanding, but even so, he had to stop here. The top 18 participants were simply too outstanding. They were all geniuses with the highest talent in their respective prefectures. Not bad at all. Qin Wentian smiled at Mu Yan. Mu Yan nodded his head and raised his wine cup to Qin Wentian and the other 2, seeing how powerful you 3 are, I'm truly proud of you guys. I wish you all the best to walk to the end. Emicham, definitely. Jun Mingchen raised his wine cup as well. After which, Qin Wentian and Zi Qingxian also raised their wine cups and drank with Mu Yan. You guys actually became complacent so quickly after escaping death. Zhou Yu stared at the 4 of them, feeling extremely unhappy. An evil fire burned in his heart. As a supreme genius of the Battle Heaven's immortal manner, he, Zhou Yu, knew that his combat prowess was extremely high. However, he didn't even have the qualifications to be nominated. Yet, these 3 before him had all passed. Qin Wentian was even an enemy of his Battle Heaven's immortal manner, having killed many experts from their sect before. One could very well imagine the feeling in Zhou Yu's heart. Jun Mengchen coldly glanced over, only to hear Qin Wentian speaking, Mengchen, there's no need to lower yourself to the level of these people. True dragons soar through the 9 heavens, why is there a need to argue with snakes? You. Zhou Yu pointed his finger at Qin Wentian, feeling incomparably angry. No matter what, his cultivation base was at the 8th level of celestial phenomenon and he could insta-kill any one of Qin Wentian and Zi Qingxian, yet he was being humiliated in such a manner. I really don't know if you have any sense of shame or not. Jun Mengchen mocked as he glanced at Zhou Yu, no longer bothering about him. The Battle Heaven's immortal manner and the other major powers of the Cloud Prefecture all felt extremely unhappy in their hearts when they saw how complacent Qin Wentian and the other 2 were. Naturally, this was because of the conflict between them and Qin Wentian. If there wasn't a grudge between them and Qin Wentian, they would definitely be willing to be friends with Qin Wentian. This battle has lasted for quite some time and I'm sure all the geniuses here are feeling somewhat fatigued. Let's take a break for 4 hours and everyone can move around freely. Dongxing Ting smiled and waved his hands at everyone. Everyone was extremely focused during this battle, and it was true that they were somewhat fatigued. It wasn't a bad thing to be able to relax. Alright, the Immortal Banquet will continue as usual. Everyone, feel free to speak to the serving girls if you have any needs. Dongxing Ting stood up. He carried his wine cup and walked towards Princess Lioli as he smiled. Princess, what do you think of these geniuses? Not bad at all, there are quite a few outstanding characters among them. Princess Lioli nodded. In that case, who do you think Princess is most optimistic about? Who do you think would be able to enter the top 3 and become a sage child character? That would have to depend on all of you. How would I be able to guess it? Princess Lioli turned her gaze to the geniuses. She has always been observing, wanting to know if the matter her father told her had anything to do with the Immortal Banquet at the Dongshengshan Gate. Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. Dongxing Ting has always been in awe of Senior White Emperor, but sadly, I've never had the fortune to meet him before. In the future, if there's a chance, I hope that Princess can introduce me to him so that I can fulfill a wish of mine, and pay my respects to the White Emperor. Dongxing Ting's words were extremely powerful, inadvertently praising the White Emperor. The other immortal kings at the side didn't disturb Dongxing Ting and Princess Lioli when they saw this scene. All of them were wily old foxes, how could their hearts not be as clear as a mirror? They all moved on their own. It was rare for these immortal kings to meet each other, and now that they were all gathered together, even if there were some unhappiness between them, they wouldn't mention it. They were all chatting happily as though they were old friends. Myriad incarnations Immortal King, you are getting more and more beautiful. The undying Immortal King smiled at the Myriad Incarnations Immortal King. The Myriad Incarnations Immortal King had a look of nobility on her face, she was indeed very beautiful. Although she had cultivated for many years, as an Immortal King, she still looked as young as ever. Also, because of her powerful cultivation base, she exuded an aura of elegance. Every action of hers would cause people to be mesmerized. To ordinary people, she was like a goddess that could only be respected and not blasphemed. The old Immortal King is still so good at talking. The Myriad Incarnations Immortal King smiled. Not only is she beautiful, she is also very good at teaching disciples. I've long heard that this disciple of yours, Hua Taishu, went to the world of reincarnation to temper himself. You guys are truly gutsy, there are very few people who could walk out of there alive. Even if they did, they would all become a madman. The undying Immortal King cast a deep glance at Hua Taishu, only to see that his countenance was incomparably calm. This is also because of his hard work. The Myriad Incarnations Immortal King smiled. Your temper is still the best. Look at that deep flame Immortal King, he looks so angry. The undying Immortal King smiled and shook his head. He then turned his gaze towards the deep flame Immortal King, only to see that the latter was currently walking downwards. Following the gaze of the deep flame Immortal King, they all saw Qin Wentian. So it turned out that a supreme Immortal King from the Dongshengshan Gate walked over to where Qin Wentian was. Qin Wentian, Jun Mengchen, Zi Qingxian, Mu Yan and Gu Lufeng were all gathered together. Another Supreme Immortal King walked over and the Idol Cloud Immortal King instantly introduced, this is Senior Supreme Mystic Immortal King from the Dongshengshan Gate. We pay our respects to Senior. The people of the Cloud Prefecture all bowed, only to see the Supreme Mystic Immortal King waving his hands as he smiled warmly. His gaze then turned to Qin Wentian and Jun Mengchen as he smiled, do the two of you have the confidence to enter the top 3? We will do our best. Qin Wentian politely replied when he saw that the Supreme Mystic Immortal King didn't have any ill intentions. If you can enter the top 3, you will become the personal disciples of His Majesty. However, His Majesty is usually very busy, and unless you become a personal disciple, it's very rare for him to guide you. Even if you become a personal disciple, he wouldn't have much time to guide you. Most of his time is spent cultivating in the Dongshengshan Gate. At that time, you too can follow me in cultivation and I will do my best to guide you. It's fine if you too fail to become a sage child. If you are willing, you can enter the Dongshengshan gate and join my tutelage. The supreme mystic Immortal King smiled, his words causing the expressions of the experts of the Cloud Prefecture to stiffen. The gazes they used to look at Qin Wentian changed. This was a supreme Immortal King from the Dongshengshan gate personally coming to recruit them as disciples. This indicated that even if the two of them couldn't become a sage child, they would at least become a personal disciple of an Immortal King. This caused many people to be worried. They were worried that Qin Wentian would soar through the ranks. The Idle Cloud Immortal King, on the other hand, was very happy. He smiled, Qin Wentian, Jun Mengchen, the Supreme Mystic Immortal King is an extremely powerful senior Immortal King. Supreme Mystic. But at this moment, an untimely voice drifted over. The Deep Flame Immortal King walked over and spoke to the Supreme Mystic Immortal King, Supreme Mystic, I'm afraid your hopes will be dashed. It's impossible for them to become a sage child. This is especially so for Qin Wentian, it's even more impossible. Deep Flame, aren't you being a little narrow-minded by saying such words? The Supreme Mystic Immortal King furrowed his brows. This Deep Flame Immortal King should consider his own status right. A war general of His Majesty actually dared to say such words in public. Humph, do you know that a few years ago, His Majesty accepted a disciple in his particle world? The Deep Flame Immortal King spoke. I naturally know, it's just that I'm not clear of the details. The Supreme Mystic Immortal King replied. That time when His Majesty accepted a disciple, this young man almost became His Majesty's personal disciple. The Deep Flame Immortal King pointed to Qin Wentian. However, he didn't appreciate the good intentions of His Majesty and actually disobeyed His Majesty's orders. His conduct was extremely improper and that was why His Majesty changed his mind and abandoned him. The Supreme Mystic Immortal King's countenance instantly changed when he heard this. No wonder both the Deep Flame Immortal King and Dongxing had such an unfriendly attitude towards Qin Wentian. Although this young man came here again, wanting to seize another opportunity, it won't be so easy. The Deep Flame Immortal King stared at Qin Wentian as he continued.